Konoha, left eye Rinnegan, right eye Reincarnation. Hey, fanfic family. So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction, so don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 76. You want me to be your summoned beast? I know you didn't want to reveal your true self to Hashirama, so I didn't point it out at first. Now that Hashirama is gone, there's no need for you to hide it anymore, the slug sage said, without questioning Jojuan's eyes. You may not have realized it yourself, but the sealing technique on your body isolates most of the natural energy, making it exceptionally difficult for you to cultivate sage mode, so that's the reason, Jojuan suddenly realized, instinctively slapping his forehead. He had been wondering why he was absorbing natural energy so difficultly, less than a tenth of Hashirama's efficiency. He thought that even if his talent wasn't on par with geniuses, he couldn't be a complete idiot. Now, hearing the slug sage explain the reason, he finally understood. It was all the sealing technique's fault. It had invisibly separated his body from the natural energy of the outside world. I was blinded by my own perspective. Thanks to your guidance, Senior, otherwise I don't know how many detours I would have taken, Jojuan said, embarrassed. The slug sage's tone became more appreciative, saying, ordinary sealing techniques can't isolate natural energy, but yours can, which shows your mastery of sealing techniques is extremely profound. You've used ninjutsu very cleverly, combining advanced sealing techniques with transformation techniques. No wonder Ashura and Hashirama couldn't see through your disguise. Jojuan wasn't sure if the slug sage was praising him or mocking him. After a moment's hesitation, he decided to reveal his true identity. I dare not deceive you any longer, Senior. Actually, my name isn't Masked Hero, but Uzumaki Jojuan, a member of the Uzumaki clan in the Land of Fire. Hashirama recently married my older sister. He's both my sworn brother and my brother-in-law, but due to some unspeakable reasons, I only contact him as Masked Hero. He doesn't know that Masked Hero is his brother-in-law. I hope you can keep this a secret for me and not tell Hashirama, the slug sage nodded, unconcerned. Don't worry, I'm not one to gossip. At the same time, she silently wondered if she'd ever see Hashirama a second time. Over the long years, she had taught several people sage mode, and those who received her teachings had faithfully followed her instructions and never bothered him in Shikatsu Forest again. She figured Hashirama would likely do the same. Now try releasing the seal and see if you can increase your efficiency in absorbing natural energy. The slug sage brought a topic back to the main point. Okay, Jojuan shook his head, clearing his mind of distractions, trying to calm himself. He carefully sensed the distribution of natural energy in Shikatsu Forest, guiding it into his body according to the slug sage's instructions, fusing it with his spiritual and physical power in a perfect ratio. From the slug sage's perspective, countless invisible energies gathered above Jojuan's head, condensing into a funnel shape and continuously flowing into his body. His aptitude is quite good, the slug sage secretly acknowledged. Although Jojuan's funnel-shaped cultivation method was much smaller than Hashirama's, from a normal human perspective, his aptitude was excellent. Senior, my efficiency has indeed improved a lot, Jojuan exclaimed in surprise. He knew his cultivation progressed best. Not bad, keep up the good work, the slug sage praised him lightly. Jojuan saw hope and was immediately full of energy, throwing all his energy into cultivating his sage arts. 4 months passed in this cultivation. 4 months later, in a dark and damp underground cave, Jojuan closed his eyes, clasped his hands together, and quietly prepared for half a minute. Boom! Suddenly, a powerful aura exploded from his body, making his red hair sway like flames in the darkness, and a ring of black lines emerged from under the skin around his eyes. Senior, I succeeded. Feeling the surging power within him, he couldn't help but be excited, like a child who had received a new toy. His 4 months of tireless, sleepless training were truly worthwhile. The moment he finally mastered the sage mode, he genuinely felt it was all worth it. It's worth mentioning that, like Mount Myaboku, Shikatsu Forest lacks human food. The slugs feed on leaves and roots. For the first 2 months, Jojuan survived on food from sealed scrolls, but later, running out of supplies, He had to rely on shadow clones to deliver provisions. Although you're not as skilled as Hashirama, you've now completely mastered Sage Mode, the Slug Sage said with satisfaction. Over the past 4 months, she had witnessed Zhou growth step by step, experiencing a sense of accomplishment akin to teaching a disciple, which made her quite happy. Zhou, not letting his pride cloud his judgment, quickly suppressed his joy and bowed solemnly to the Slug Sage. My mastery of immortal arts is entirely due to your meticulous guidance, Senior. Your kindness to me is immeasurable, even if it means going through fire and water for me. I will never hesitate. Hearing this, the Slug Sage felt an even stronger sense of accomplishment, deeply believing that her teaching had not been in vain and that her initial decision was correct. After a moment's thought, she produced a contract scroll. I have already given Rashomon to Hashirama, so naturally I cannot favor one over the other. You will also sign your name on this contract scroll, sharing Rashomon with Hashirama from now on. Zhou did not immediately accept the scroll. He hesitated for a moment, then tentatively asked, I don't want to form a summoning contract with Rashomon. Can I choose another one? The Slug Sage was surprised. What do you want to choose? Her inner thought was, I only have Rashomon to offer. If possible, I would like to form a summoning contract with you, Senior, Zhou said earnestly, uttering his bold statement. The Slug Immortal was stunned, then incredulous. You want me to be your summon beast? She was a little frightened. How could she, a dignified Slug Immortal from the same era as the Sage of Six Paths, possibly be someone else's summoned beast? Not a summoned beast, but an elder. Zhou shook her head in denial. As the saying goes, a teacher for a day is a mother for life. Senior taught me immortal arts, so we are already master and disciple. In my heart, Senior is equivalent to my parents and elders. From now on, I will come to pay my respects and offer my congratulations to Senior during festivals. Hearing this explanation, the Slug Immortal was stunned again, then a strange and subtle emotion welled up in her heart. In her entire life, when had she ever been valued by a human so much? She had taught immortal arts to a few humans before, but those humans left after learning the arts with profuse thanks. And then they never saw each other again for the rest of their lives. No one had ever valued her like Zhou, even treating her as a parent or elder. At this moment, the Slug Immortal was deeply moved, experiencing an unprecedented warmth. Your intention is enough, let's forget about forming a spirit contract, she said softly, intending to wait for Zhou to insist a little longer before agreeing. However, to the Slug Immortal's surprise, Zhou didn't insist anymore and respectfully nodded. Okay, P.S. Thank you to Jiangnan Elementary School for the 100 coin reward. Thank you, boss. Chapter 77 Showing off one's skills in front of Guan Yu. Slug Immortal, she suddenly regretted not agreeing directly earlier. The location of the wet-boned forest is too remote. It will be very inconvenient for me to come and pay my respects to you, Senior. It will take 10 days to half a month for a round trip. That's why I wanted to form a spirit contract with you, Senior. When I miss you, I can summon you at any time, and you can summon back at any time if you want to go back, Zhou added. But since you don't want to sign the contract, then forget it. I'll just put in more effort in the future and set off half a month earlier for each festival. Slug Immortal couldn't hear what Zhou said after that. At this moment, the warmth in her heart was almost overflowing. She had never been so moved, like a little girl being coaxed by a scumbag with sweet words. No need to say anything more, Slug Immortal interrupted softly. Okay, I agree. If you want to sign the spirit contract, then sign it. Her tone was a little shy, as if what she was about to sign was not a spirit contract, but a marriage contract. She put away the Rashomon contract scroll and took out a brand new, unsigned scroll, which she rolled up with her tail and handed to Zhou. With your current chakra reserves, you can't summon my true form, you can only summon a part of my body. The more chakra you use when you perform summoning jutsu, the larger the size of the summoned me will be, the Slug Sage explained. Summoning a sage completely was no easy feat. I summoned you only to pay my respects. Summoning a part of you is enough, Zhou said, accepting the scroll with both hands as if receiving a royal decree. He then bit his finger and signed his name with his blood. In this way, he not only learned Sage Mode from the Slug Sage, but also half-deceived and half-tricked the Slug Sage away. If Hashirama knew about this, he would be stunned for a whole year. To demonstrate his naivete, Zhou reassured her, I understand you prefer peace and quiet, Senior. I'll only use my summoning magic during festivals and holidays. I won't disturb you otherwise." The slug sage hesitated for a moment, then added, "If you encounter an enemy you can't defeat, you can also summon me for help. And please sign this Rashomon contract scroll as well. Human lifespans are short," and the slug sage, now deeply fond of Zhou Zhuan, sincerely hoped he would live a long life. Zhou Zhuan, ever the considerate person he was, respectfully accepted the slug sage's kindness, signed the Rashomon contract, and then took his leave with gratitude. After he left, the vast underground cavern was empty. The slug sage, who had lived there for nearly 1,000 years, felt a pang of loss. The slug sage is truly a good senior. Dealing with her has been unexpectedly smooth, Zhou Zhuan thought to himself as he sped through the mud. Although he tricked the slug sage into becoming a summoning beast out of personal motives, his gratitude and respect for the slug sage were genuine. He had benefited immensely from the slug sage, learning sage mode, obtaining the Rashomon gate, and acquiring a summoning beast. His strength had undergone a dramatic transformation compared to 5 months ago, and all of this was thanks to the slug sage. Speaking of which, is it really okay for me and Hashirama to share the Rashomon gate? Zhou Zhuan couldn't help but imagine a famous scene, during the battle at the Valley of the End, Madara, controlling the tailed beasts, unleashed a tailed beast ball. Hashirama summoned the Rashomon gate to defend against it, but the Rashomon gate whooshed away, leaving Hashirama bewildered and completely lost. Just kidding. How could I possibly trick my brother-in-law? Zhou Zhuan shook his head and smiled. Not only would he not trick his brother-in-law, but he would also do everything he could to help Hashirama. In truth, Madara's current strength isn't that great. He's only just awakened the main Gekkai Sharingan. Although Zhou Zhuan doesn't know what his 2-eye techniques are, he feels that if Madara enters Sage mode and uses all his trump cards, he could still put up a fight against him. It's only when Madara awakens the eternal main Gekkai Sharingan that he becomes truly monstrous. His complete Susanoo can slice a mountain in two with a single strike. If he were to fuse with the 9 tails to become a tailed beast, he would be so powerful it would be despair-inducing. Imagine if Madara learned Sage mode. Any Sage mode from any of the 3 great sacred lands would likely be a match for him, even for Hashirama. If I obtain a complete pair of main Gekkai Sharingan before the final battle at the Valley of the End, and combine it with Sage mode, perhaps I'll have the qualifications to intervene in their battle. Zhou Zhuan secretly pondered, deciding that his next training focus would still be fusing his eyes. From Shikatsu Forest to Uzumaki Cure, even a Jonin's stamina would take 3 or 4 days to travel, but Zhou Zhuan's 5 elements escape technique only took half a day. The clan head's mansion was deserted. Zhou Zhuan dispelled the shadow clone that had impersonated him and took a long, hot bath. He hadn't bathed in 5 months in the Shikatsu Forest, and his body was covered in mud thick enough to be used as armor. After scrubbing himself clean, Zhou Zhuan changed into clean clothes and sat on a rocking chair in the courtyard, resting and processing his memories. After the shadow clone that had impersonated him dispelled, a flood of memories rushed into his brain, all of them events experienced by the shadow clone. During the 5 months he had been training in Sage mode in the Shikatsu Forest, many major events had occurred in the ninja world. First was Uzumaki Village. Uzumaki Village had been established for nearly a year and was already extremely prosperous. The villagers had just had a bumper harvest, and the crops they harvested not only met their own needs but also allowed them to trade with other villages, towns, and countries. The population of Uzumaki Village had now grown to over 80,000, second only to the capital of the Land of Fire. Uzumaki Ryu had started a plan to train a ninja army 4 months ago. Zhou Zhuan wasn't surprised at all. From the day Uzumaki Village was built, it was destined to get better and better, unless attacked by a coalition of forces. But now, the various forces in the Land of Fire were unable to unite for various reasons. The external war situation remained chaotic. The Uzumaki, Senju, and Uchiha clans had basically retreated. Currently, the main players on the battlefield were Sarutobi and Kurama. These 2 clans were frantically annexing smaller ninja clans to expand their power, wishing they could beat the other to pulp. It had reached the point of no return, and the daimyo's intervention had been ineffective. Why are the Uchiha and Hyuga clans fighting? Zhou Zhuan suddenly received some unexpected information. You see, these 2 clans had formed an alliance a few years ago and had a fairly good relationship. He continued to digest the memories of his shadow clone, and soon he learned the reason for the war between the 2 clans. His expression immediately turned grim. It turns out that the Kaguya clan had secretly captured several Hyuga clan members in an attempt to break the caged bird seal and obtain the Byakugan. However, their plot was exposed, and the Hyuga clan was furious, declaring war on Kaguya. Damn it! Trying to steal my eyes, Kaguya. You're trying to show off your skills in front of Guan Yu. Chapter 78 Black Zetsu's Revenge. According to information obtained by the Shadow Clone, a rumor has been circulating among the various clans of the Land of Fire for the past 3 months. The Byakugan of the Hyuga clan and the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan can be perfectly transplanted into others, granting the recipients 2 bloodline limits and greatly enhancing their strength. This is the reason Black Zetsu stole the eyes of these 2 clans. Once this rumor spread, the Byakugan and Sharingan became the talk of the town, coveted by countless people both openly and secretly. In chaotic times, strength is the greatest asset for survival. Anyone who can increase their strength will do anything, no matter how outrageous. In some underground black markets, people even buy Byakugan and Sharingan at high prices. Besides the Hyuga, the Uchiha were also targeted. A ninja clan named Matsushita plotted to ambush and kill several Uchiha members, stealing their Sharingan. The next day, 3 Susanoo descended upon Matsushita's territory, and the entire Uchiha clan mobilized, wiping out the Matsushita clan within a single day. The outcome of this battle shocked the Land of Fire. All the major ninja clans realized that the Uchiha were absolute madmen. They would fight to the death anyone who dared to touch their Sharingan, unless they could do so stealthily like Black Zetsu. The Matsushita massacre restored the Uchiha clan's prestige, and no one dared to openly covet the Sharingan anymore. However, they still couldn't avoid being secretly coveted. Uchiha Tajima was both furious and humiliated. Originally, Madara and Izuna's awakening of the main Gekkyou Sharingan had caused the Uchiha's overall strength to surge, making them no longer afraid of Black Zetsu. He was planning to lead his clan back into the fray, but the rumors surrounding that dealt him a heavy blow. Now, it wasn't just Black Zetsu who coveted the Sharingan, every ninja clan was eyeing it. No matter how strong the Uchiha were, they couldn't possibly be enemies with all the ninja clans. Tajima had no choice but to abandon all their external businesses and resources, continuing to guard their clan's territory with his people, hoping to weather this storm first. The Hyuga clan, because of the caged bird seal, didn't remain in seclusion, but clan members would mysteriously disappear from time to time, leaving no trace, neither alive nor dead. Until a month ago, when the Kaguya clan's attempt to break the caged bird seal by imprisoning Hyuga members was exposed, the Hyuga clan was enraged and declared war on Kaguya. Black Zetsu, that rumor must have been spread by Black Zetsu. He's come for revenge. Jojuan's expression was grave. He sensed a conspiracy in the recent encounters between the Hyuga and Uchiha. Putting himself in Black Zetsu's shoes, not knowing who the imposter was, the only way to retaliate was to stir up trouble. You like gouging out eyes, don't you? Fine, then I'll let everyone gouge out their eyes. Let's see how smug you are then. As long as you're unhappy, I'm happy. How insidious Black Zetsu is. He actually used this trick against me. This isn't just a conspiracy, it's a blatant, overt scheme to force me to reveal myself. Jojuan took a deep breath, his mind far from calm. He had felt that Black Zetsu's unusually low profile after escaping from the Uchiha clan was suspicious. It turned out he was secretly preparing a powerful attack. I can't let you live. Next time I see you, I must seal you away. Jojuan made his decision, a fierce glint in his eyes. If you were to ask who he feared most in the world, it would undoubtedly be Black Zetsu. The reason Jojuan turned and fled upon seeing Black Zetsu last time was because he felt his strength was insufficient to deal with him. Black Zetsu is the embodiment of Kaguya's will, and could only be sealed, not killed. Moreover, all ninjutsu cast with chakra was ineffective against him. But now, having mastered Sage Mode, Jojuan was more confident. Ordinary chakra was ineffective against Black Zetsu, but Sage Mode chakra should be effective. If he used a sealing technique in Sage Mode, Black Zetsu would be severely injured, if not killed outright. Time flew by. He had just been pondering a way to deal with Black Zetsu when dusk arrived in the blink of an eye. Gurgle, his stomach protested. Jojuan sighed, suddenly missing his sister. If she were still here, a whole feast of delicious-looking dishes would already be waiting for him. Unfortunately, his sister had gone to cook for Hoshirama and wouldn't cook for him anymore. Jojuan stood up and went to the kitchen to quickly stir-fry a couple of dishes. For the past 5 months, He had only eaten dry rations and longed for a hot meal. He had just put the food on the table when Ashina walked in, looking weak and listless. "You're back just in time. Try your second brother's cooking," Jojuan said with a smile. Ashina, with a mournful face, cried, "Second brother, please save me. I've been having such a miserable time lately. Dad gives me tons of work to do every day. I'm so tired I'm forgetting who I am." Jojuan gloated, "Don't talk nonsense. The capable should do more. Dad is training you. The position of village chief of Uzashio village will be yours in the future." After Mito's marriage, Ashina naturally became the next village chief successor. To cultivate his son into a qualified successor, Uzumaki Dragon assigned him everything, making him do everything himself. As a result, he was overwhelmed with the work. Even Jojuan's shadow clone felt sorry for him. It's worth mentioning that the village chief position was recently created by Uzumaki Dragon to increase the common people's sense of belonging to Uzashio village. Whether commoners or members of the Uzumaki clan, they all belonged to Uzashio village. Jojuan knew perfectly well that in a few years, the title of village chief would be replaced by Uzumaki Shadow. "I don't want to be the village chief, it'll really kill me," Ashina said with a worried look. "Second brother, how about we go talk to Dad and he'll let you be the next clan chief and the village chief too? You're smarter than me, you were the one who came up with the idea of establishing Uzashio village." Jojuan's face darkened. "Don't be delusional. What's the use of just being smart? Being a village chief mainly depends on strength. With my special Chunin strength, even if I became the village chief, I'd be assassinated without anyone noticing within 2 days." Ashina felt even more miserable upon hearing this. "But I'm really suffering. I'm still a child, I shouldn't have to bear so much at this age." Jojuan gave him a suggestion. "I have a way. You can go directly to Dad and tell him you can't take it anymore, and have him appoint my cousin Kong Kong, second uncle's son, as the successor to the village chief position, and also give him the clan chief position. That way you can relax." "How can that be?" Ashina's eyes widened, and he became anxious instantly. "Wancheo village was built by Dad and us, it can't be handed over to anyone else, not even my cousin Kong Kong." Luming was fiercely protective of his family, with a strong sense of kinship. In his eyes, if his second brother were the village chief, he'd gladly hand it over, but if his cousin wanted it, he'd be 1,000 times unwilling. How could his cousin compare to his own brother? "Since you don't want to give it to my cousin Kong Kong, and I can't take over, you'll just have to grit your teeth and persevere." Jojuan patted him on the shoulder to comfort him. No one understood his younger brother's personality better than him. Please vote, everyone. Chapter 79 Mito is pregnant. Lu Ming's expression shifted twice before he finally gritted his teeth, no longer dwelling on whether he was tired or not, and decided to shoulder everything alone. After all, his father's legacy couldn't be handed over to anyone else. Jojuan, seeing this, felt quite gratified and smiled. "Actually, you'll be relaxed once you get through this period. You're currently extremely busy because you need to familiarize yourself with the operations of various departments in the village. Once you officially succeed as village chief, you can delegate some miscellaneous tasks to others, and you'll be responsible for overall coordination." Hearing his second brother's words, Lu Ming finally saw a glimmer of hope, and the worry on his face lessened considerably as he began to enjoy the food his second brother had cooked. Jojuan silently sighed inwardly, thankful that his father didn't value him, otherwise his situation wouldn't be any better than Lu Ming's. He was inherently averse to trouble, and the reason he deliberately kept a low profile within the family was precisely because he didn't want to get involved. If he were to be busy with the affairs of Wancheo village all day like Lu Ming, he definitely wouldn't be able to endure it. The taste of power was certainly good, but he longed for a life free from constraints. The younger brother is the boss in front of the camera, and he's the boss behind the scenes. That's pretty good. "I miss my older sister's cooking," Ashina suddenly sighed. The reason was that he'd found a worm in his second brother's stir-fried vegetables, and what's worse, the worm was actually moving. Jojuan's expression changed, then he sighed as well. Sigh, who wouldn't miss it? A family really needs a woman. A family without a woman is incomplete. My older sister wrote last time saying she's pregnant. I really want to go see her, but I can't get away. Ashina continued to sigh. It's alright, I have time. I'll go to the Senju clan's territory for you tomorrow. Jojuan comforted him, but the more he comforted him, the more resentful Ashina's expression became. He also longed to be as free as his second brother, But he hated his father for being so blind, neglecting such a smart person as his second brother and preferring to boss him around. My sister's only been married for 5 months, and she's already pregnant. Time really flies. Jojuan could clearly feel the passage of time. With his sister's pregnancy, Tsunade's birth wasn't far off, and the characters from the original story were gradually appearing. The only question is whether the baby is carrying Tsunade's father or mother. The next day, Jojuan went to the clan heads building, no, it's now called the village heads building, and told Uzumaki Ryu that he was going to visit Mito in the Senju clan's territory and would be staying there for 10 days to 2 weeks, temporarily relieving himself of his duties in the police department. Uzumaki Ryu waved his hand, telling him to get lost. Alright, after Jojuan left, Uzumaki Ryu's eyes became complicated. Regarding this disappointing son, he had gone from initially being disappointed in him to now compromising, letting him be free and no longer putting pressure on him. Everyone has their own way of living. His second son couldn't inherit his legacy, nor was he capable of contributing to Uzumaki village. All Uzumaki Ryu could give him was a life of comfort and security. Perhaps for his second son, being a parasite, living a carefree and healthy life for the rest of his days, was what he wanted most. After reporting to his father, Jojuan didn't set off immediately. Instead, he went to the market in Uzashio village and bought a large quantity of dry rations and water pouches, stuffing the ceiling scrolls to the brim. He didn't get the money from Uzumaki Dragon, he worked in the police department and received a considerable monthly salary. With his supplies replenished, Jojuan officially set off, arriving at the Senju clan's territory at noon that day. Jojuan? What brings you here? Mito was strolling with Hashirama when she suddenly bumped into her younger brother, momentarily surprised and almost disbelieving. I came to see you, Jojuan said with a smile. You wrote that you were pregnant, and father and Ashina have been too busy, so I'm the only one with free time. 5 months had passed, and Mito had changed drastically. The once youthful and beautiful girl had completely transformed into a married woman, even her belly was quite large. What are father and Ashina busy with? Mito happily took her brother's arm, asking about the recent situation in Uzashio village as they returned to the clan head's residence. The siblings seemed to have endless things to talk about, chatting animatedly. Hashirama stood to the side, a signature goofy smile on his face, unable to get a word in edgewise. He never dreamed that his brother-in-law, chatting and laughing so readily, would be the masked older brother he'd been thinking about so often for the past 4 months. His wish had been fulfilled, he was finally eating his sister's cooking again. Looking at the table laden with food, he didn't hold back, finishing every last bite. His ravenous eating reminded Mito of Hashirama 4 months ago. Back then, Hashirama had studied Sage Mode for a month, and upon returning, he was tempted by everything, immediately devouring everything at the table. Eat slowly, no one's going to take it from you. Mito kept putting food on her brother's plate, finally sighing with heartache. Before, she was responsible for all 3 meals a day at home. After she got married, she could only imagine that their father and 2 younger brothers couldn't cook, and they must have been making do with whatever they could find, with piles of dirty laundry left unwashed. You should get married soon, so someone can take care of you, Mito said. Jojuan casually replied, no rush, she's still young. Young what? You're already 10. Mito suddenly remembered something, her tone shifting. You're not really going to marry an 8-year-old girl, are you? Hashirama asked curiously. What 8-year-old girl? Jojuan's face darkened, and he quickly waved his hand. No way. Getting married is too early for me. I'll wait 2 more years. Damn it, an 8-year-old girl. That was just an excuse he used to appease his father's pressure to get married, but he didn't expect his sister to remember it. If she kept remembering it, it would probably become a stain on his life. That evening, Batsuma and Tobirama returned. They were both happy to see Jojuan and pulled him to drink. Now that the Senju clan had no external wars, everyone was living a very peaceful life. Jojuan was naturally happy to keep them company. He already knew the Senju clan's custom of entertaining guests, it was just drinking, and with his mastery of the 6 meridians divine sword technique, he was definitely not afraid to drink. They drank until late at night, and Batsuma, Hashirama, and Tobirama were all passed out, while Jojuan was still as if nothing had happened. Mito was surprised, she had never known her brother had such a high alcohol tolerance, attributing it to a natural talent. She then sent him to sleep in the guest room. After 3 days of feasting and drinking in the Senju clan's territory, Jojuan concluded his visit and bid farewell to Mito. Mito wanted him to stay a few more days, but Jojuan declined, citing busy village affairs. Mito had no choice but to let her brother go, secretly slipping him 30,000 taels of silver and telling him to be careful on his journey. She didn't know that Jojuan had actually asked Uzumaki Dragon for a long leave before leaving. How, so my sister is a brother-supporting demon after all? Jojuan chuckled self-deprecatingly as he pulled out the gleaming coins from his pocket after leaving the Senju clan's territory. The Warring States period was different from Naruto's time in the original story. Inflation hadn't yet occurred, and coins were very durable. 30,000 taels was equivalent to a year's income for an average farmer. I have something to do today, so only one update. Please continue to vote. Chapter 80 Black Zetsu appears. Sister, you don't think I went to the Senju clan's territory to freeload because I was broke, do you? Jojuan was quite touched. He then carefully put the coins away and prepared to get down to business. Visiting Mito was secondary. Knowing his sister was doing well put his mind at ease. His main purpose was to monitor the Hyuga clan. Black Zetsu, in retaliation, had deliberately stirred up trouble, pushing the Sharingan and Byakugan into the spotlight, causing all the major ninja clans to covet them. Jojuan judged that Black Zetsu, to force him out, would definitely have further measures against the Uchiha and Hyuga, even potentially wiping them out. After all, the opponent was an ancient monster who had existed for thousands of years, sitting on the same chessboard as him. He couldn't be careless. He had to consider the worst-case scenario, because that was the outcome his enemy most wanted. The Uchiha had abandoned all external resources and industries, closing themselves off to seclusion, making it difficult for Black Zetsu to target them. His only breakthrough point was the Hyuga clan. Jojuan anticipated Black Zetsu's next move, believing that as long as he kept a close watch on the Hyuga clan, he would eventually discover Black Zetsu's whereabouts. Black Zetsu wanted to force him out, and so did he. He foresaw that the day the real and fake Black Zetsu met again, a fierce battle would erupt. Soon, Jojuan arrived near the Hyuga clan's territory. Due to the Byakugan's extraordinary reconnaissance abilities, Jojuan dared not get too close, remaining hidden 5 kilometers away from the Hyuga clan's territory, relying on Kagura's mind's eye to sense the Hyuga clan members' chakra fluctuations. It's worth mentioning that after entering Sage Mode, the power of all his techniques, ninjutsu, jinjutsu, taijutsu, etc., was dramatically enhanced, and the perception range of Kagura's mind's eye expanded to 15 kilometers. Of course, Jojuan couldn't maintain Sage Mode for long. He could only spare a few minutes each day to randomly sense, and whether he could sense Black Zetsu depended entirely on luck. The hunting process was both long and tedious, and a good hunter must possess ample patience. In the blink of an eye, Jojuan had been hiding near the Hyuga clan's territory for half a month. Fortunately, he had prepared plenty of dry rations and water before his operation, so he didn't need to worry about food and drink. Although he hadn't sensed Black Zetsu during these 2 weeks, he hadn't come away empty-handed. He discovered that members of the Shimura clan frequently entered and exited the Hyuga clan's territory, with the clan head, Shimura Mitsudo, being the most frequent visitor. Hyuga Tenfu and the Shimura clan have formed an alliance? Aren't they ashamed of themselves? Jojuan thought disdainfully. He remembered when Mito and Ashina escorted the wounded back to the village. The Shimura clan had followed the group for a while with malicious intent, and Mito had to intervene to scare them away. Based on this experience, Jojuan had no goodwill towards the Shimura clan, especially since this clan would produce a notorious scapegoat in the future. Shimura is only a medium-sized ninja clan, while the Hyuga is an undisputed major clan. Their strengths are unequal. Has Hyuga Tenfu really failed to find anyone to lie with? Jojuan guessed. The situation in the Land of Fire was constantly changing, and he didn't fully understand it. He continued his covert operations, and another 2 weeks passed in the blink of an eye. During this time, the Shimura and Hyuga clans maintained increasingly close ties, yet Black Zetsu remained conspicuously absent. Even Jojuan, with his usual patience, was growing impatient, sensing something was amiss. Logically, after so much time, whatever Black Zetsu's schemes against the Hyuga should have been implemented by now. Could it be that Black Zetsu anticipated my next move, or in other words, anticipated my predictions, and after careful consideration, chose not to confront me directly? Jojuan tried to analyze Black Zetsu's thoughts. He put himself in Black Zetsu's shoes. If you were Black Zetsu, facing a mysterious enemy who appeared out of nowhere, knew his secrets, and could potentially threaten him, would he hide in a corner for 100 or 2 centuries before emerging again? Jojuan's face darkened. He had to admit that his personality was very similar to Black Zetsu's. Both were cautious and cunning. If he were Black Zetsu, he would indeed choose to lie low. Since there were people in this era who could threaten him, he would simply wait until the next era and outlive his enemy. Anyway, Indra and Ashura have reincarnations in every era, and Black Zetsu has already endured 1,000 years to save Kaguya, so 100 or 2 more won't make a difference. Damn it, Black Zetsu won't make the same choice as me, will he? Jojuan instantly lost his composure. He felt like he had laid out all his pieces, ready to fight his opponent, only to have the opponent smash the game and hide away. If Black Zetsu is hiding, then I've been guarding this lonely game for a month, a thought suddenly flashed through his mind. Black Zetsu can't hide any longer. The 1,000-year period is almost here, and the Otsutsuki main family is coming to collect the fruits of the divine tree. As the embodiment of Kaguya's will, Black Zetsu couldn't possibly be unaware of this. He must start making his plans in this era, otherwise it will be too late if he waits until Naruto and Sasuke's era. The Sage of Six Paths and his brother couldn't kill Kaguya back then, but the Otsutsuki main family certainly can. Thinking of this, Jojuan calmed down and concluded that Black Zetsu definitely wasn't hiding. He was probably somewhere testing his patience with him. I'll wear you down to the end, let's see who outlasts whom, Jojuan thought helplessly, deciding to continue his covert operation. He had considered having a shadow clone take his place, but the idea was quickly dismissed. A shadow clone wouldn't be able to deal with Black Zetsu, it would only alert him, making it even harder to deal with Black Zetsu next time. It's a pity Tobirama didn't develop the Flying Thunder God technique, otherwise I would have left a Flying Thunder God mark for a shadow clone to infiltrate, and I could immediately use my ultimate technique once Black Zetsu is spotted. He was imagining the iconic scene of crushing Black Zetsu when suddenly, he sensed a cold, evil chakra fluctuation in the distance. He was stunned for a moment, then overjoyed. Meanwhile, in a dense forest a dozen kilometers away from the Hyuga clan's territory, a black-haired youth stood atop a tree, holding a paintbrush, looking down at the Hyuga clan members before him. Kurama Yachi, if you dare to lay a hand on us, the Kurama clan will suffer a terrible fate, a Hyuga elder roared angrily, with Hyuga Rika and 2 other Hyuga clan members standing beside him, all with indignant expressions. As long as we can obtain the Byakugan's bloodline limit, what does it matter if we become enemies with the Hyuga clan? Kurama Yachi said mockingly, casually twirling his paintbrush. The Hyuga elder's expression changed drastically, and he gritted his teeth, saying, the 4 of us have all planted the caged bird seal. The Byakugan will be destroyed the moment we die. Don't even dream about it, is that so? Kurama Yachi's gaze slowly fell on Hyuga Rika. Although I may be a bit ignorant, I do recognize the daughter of the Hyuga clan. Chapter 81 I am the masked hero, living by my own name and surname. No matter what, the Hyuga clan wouldn't stoop so low as to plant a caged bird in their own daughter's womb. Upon hearing this, the 4 Hyuga clan members paled. This ambush was definitely premeditated. At that moment, a hideous black head emerged from Kurama Yachi's chest, coldly saying, enough talk, hurry up and make your move. Before the Hyuga reinforcements arrive, Kurama Yachi glanced at him sideways. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Black Zetsu, Hyuga Rika and the others were shocked, then filled with rage, pointing at the black head on Kurama Yachi's chest. Your Kurama clan actually colluded with Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu, upon hearing this, was furious, thinking, I am Black Zetsu, that's true, but I'm not a Black Zetsu you know, so what if I am? Kurama Yachi exuded an air of superiority. You're all about to die, what business do you have of worrying about anything else? Hyuga Rika, always arrogant, could no longer suppress her anger. She stomped her foot on the ground and instantly appeared in front of Kurama Yachi, unleashing a gentle fist attack. Die, boom, the large tree shattered into several pieces. Kurama Yachi effortlessly dodged her attack and moved to the side. I like this kind of personality, and she's good looking too. What a pity, Kurama Yachi sighed regretfully, whether genuinely or deliberately. Shut up, Hyuga Rika felt a rage she had never felt before, wishing she could kill him with a single blow. She relentlessly pursued Kurama Yachi. The 3 elders from the Hyuga clan rushed to join her, but Kurama Yachi's movements were too swift. No matter how fierce their attacks were, they couldn't touch him. Quickly finish this, be swift, Black Zetsu urged, a strange unease creeping into his heart. Kuramahachi originally wanted to toy with the four a little longer. He always enjoyed killing his enemies after driving them to despair. However, Black Zetsu kept urging him on, so he had to give up the fun of playing cat and mouse. Fine, I'm not playing with you anymore. Kuramahachi leaped into the air and hovered there, as if he had invisible wings on his back. Be careful, the Kurama clan's bloodline limit is very strange. It can manipulate the five senses to create illusions and materialize falsehoods as reality, Elder Hyuga warned the three in a deep voice. Hyuga Rika's eyebrows furrowed, and she gathered chakra to unleash a Bagua mountain-breaking strike. Kuramahachi simply turned slightly to avoid a ranged attack. More anxious than me, Kuramahachi sneered contemptuously, gripping his paintbrush and swinging it forcefully. Rain of pear blossom blades, whoosh whoosh whoosh, countless whooshing sounds rang out. Hyuga Rika and the others looked up and saw thousands upon thousands of blades falling from the sky, as dense as raindrops. He didn't even form hand seals. How could he release a ninjutsu? Hyuga Rika was initially puzzled, then realized that the blades were jinjutsu created by Kuramahachi, both in illusion and reality at the same time. Return to heaven, the Hyuga elder shouted, releasing a large amount of chakra from various acupoints throughout his body, spinning rapidly like a top, deflecting all the blades that approached. Clang clang clang, in less than a moment, the entire ground was filled with blades, trees fell in swathes, cut into fragments by the blades. Is this what the Hyuga clan calls absolute defense? Kuramahachi hovered in the sky, lost in thought, and soon, a smile appeared on his lips. In my opinion, it's nothing special, heavenly punishment annihilation. With a flick of his brush, the previously cloudless sky instantly became overcast, and a thick pillar of lightning, several meters in diameter, crashed down, like a magnificent heavenly punishment. Bang! The moment the lightning bolt struck the spinning top, the ground shattered inch by inch. The heavenly reversal defense was utterly destroyed, and Elder Hyuga, Rika, and the others hiding within were all sent flying backward, coughing up blood. The Kurama clan's bloodline limit is too unpredictable. No wonder they're called the strongest jinjutsu, Elder Hyuga said weakly, feeling like a toy in front of his opponent, completely at his mercy. Because it was jinjutsu, his opponent could create jinjutsu scenes at will, but these jinjutsu scenes could all materialize into reality, making him practically flawless and invincible. If father or big brother were here, they could definitely defeat him, Rika Hyuga said bitterly, but in her heart, she had to admit his opponent's strength. In my jinjutsu domain, I am a god. I can materialize whatever I want. You have absolutely no hope of fighting me. Looking at the four people below who had been defeated by a single heavenly punishment, Kuramahachi became even more arrogant, displaying his superiority to the fullest. Even Black Zetsu, who was cooperating with him, couldn't stand his arrogant personality and repeatedly urged, "Can't we finish this quickly? Do you still want the Byakugan?" Kuramahachi found him annoying and said indifferently, "You know what I really want is the Sharingan. The Byakugan is dispensable to me, the Sharingan also has jinjutsu abilities," and Kuramahachi believed that if he possessed the Sharingan, he would be even more powerful. "Once you destroy the Hyuga clan, I will naturally give you a pair of Meijekyo Sharingan," Black Zetsu said. Upon hearing this, Kuramahachi's heart immediately burned with excitement. "Okay, I believe you." As soon as he finished speaking, he swung his drawing brush. Boom! Another pillar of heavenly punishment lightning descended, carrying destructive power as it smashed towards the four Hyuga clan members. Hyuga Rika's pretty face was full of determination. She would rather destroy her own eyes than let the other party succeed. Just as she raised her hand, about to pierce through her eyes with her fingers, at the critical moment, a figure flashed above her head. Jojuan, wielding a fully formed wind release, Rasenshuriken, fiercely clashed with a lightning pillar. Bang! The explosion resounded through the heavens and earth, a rolling shockwave sweeping outwards, sending daggers flying everywhere. "We're saved!" The two Hyuga clan members were overjoyed, their excitement palpable as they gazed above the person who had saved their lives. The person's cloak billowed behind him, his hair was thick and black, and his face was covered by a black cloth. "Not father?" Hyuga Rika asked in surprise. "Besides her father, her elder brother, and other clan members, who else would save her?" "Who are you?" Kuramahachi asked for her, his eyes narrowing slightly. "I am the masked hero," Jojuan replied calmly, staring at the ugly head on Kuramahachi's chest. Black Zetsu was also staring at him. Although they didn't speak, their silence spoke volumes. They shared a tacit understanding. I never expected Black Zetsu to team up with the Kurama clan, Jojuan secretly pondered, feeling a headache coming on. He believed that no one would want to be an enemy of a Kurama clan member who had awakened a bloodline limit. Kurama's genjutsu was far too monstrous, far surpassing ordinary genjutsu. Masked hero? Never heard of him, Kurama Iechi frowned. You're a new ally of the Hyuga clan, aren't you? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82 Sage Art, Wind Release, Shuriken. Chapter 82, Sage Art, Wind Release, Shuriken. Even with Kurama Iechi's arrogant nature, he couldn't help but feel wary of the masked swordsman. He could fly because he was in the realm of genjutsu, but the masked swordsman could also levitate and fly, his methods quite mysterious. I have no prior acquaintance with the Hyuga clan, Jojuan denied, saying righteously, the reason I helped is simply because I can't stand Black Zetsu. Over the years, Black Zetsu has committed countless evil deeds, deserving of death by everyone in the land of fire. You shamelessly joined forces with Black Zetsu, you deserve to die too. These words instantly boosted Hyuga Rika and the others' favorability. The four looked at Jojuan with deep respect, feeling that he truly lived up to his reputation as a chivalrous person, genuinely upright and righteous. Black Zetsu, however, didn't think the same way. He was furious. Others might not know who the masked swordsman was, but he did. He wanted to retort, the Black Zetsu you speak of, the one who has committed countless evil deeds, isn't that yourself? Good heavens, so after you've done all that evil, you just use your transformation technique to change your identity, and I have to take the blame for everything? Black Zetsu had lived for nearly 1,000 years and had seen countless people of all kinds, but he had never seen anyone as insidious and shameless as this. No need to waste words with him, just kill this kind of person. Black Zetsu took a deep breath and said coldly. Kurama Yasunori nodded and used his paintbrush to draw a large number of flames in the void. A raging fire materialized in all directions, sweeping towards Jojuan like a flood. Water release, great waterfall technique. Jojuan formed hand seals, gathered chakra, and sprayed at a waterfall. Sizzle, the waterfall collided with a sea of fire, and countless water vapors immediately spread, shrouding the entire sky in a hazy mist. Kurama Iechi scoffed, using water to counter fire is true, but do you have that much chakra to use water release? Within the realm of genjutsu, he consumed mental energy, not chakra, to materialize anything, while his opponent had to expend real chakra to cope. The disparity in chakra expenditure was immense. He had the clear advantage. However, as time passed, the sneer on Kurama Iechi's lips faded. His chakra reserves are truly enormous. Watching the raging inferno being swiftly extinguished by the waterfall, he felt a sense of unease. His opponent used water release without restraint, recklessly squandering chakra. Even the Uzumaki clan, renowned for their abundant chakra, were no match for him. If he could withstand fire, then what about this move? Kurama Iechi realized his opponent was at least a pseudo-clan chief-level expert. Testing him was pointless, he had to go all out. With a flick of his brush, he sketched lightning in the air. Boom! A massive bolt of lightning, several meters thick, ripped through the clouds, crashing down upon Jojuan. Be careful, Your Excellency, Rika Hyuga cried out in alarm, her heart pounding in her throat. Elder Hyuga's defensive maneuver had just been shattered by a lightning pillar, and she knew all too well its power. Summoning jutsu, just before being struck by the lightning, Jojuan summoned the Rashomon Gate in time, blocking the divine punishment. Prolonged defense will inevitably fail. Let's see how long you can hold out. Iechi Kurama exerted all his strength, disregarding the depletion of his mental energy, frantically sketching lightning with his brush, using the world as his canvas. Divine punishment annihilates the world. Boom! A terrifying rumble echoed from the clouds, countless bolts of lightning flashing and intertwining. The next moment, dozens of lightning pillars crashed down one after another. Before the attacks even arrived, the ground was already whipped up by hurricanes of flying sand and stones, displaying the full might of heaven and earth. You're quite skilled. Jojuan dared not be careless and summoned all 5 Rashomon gates. He didn't try to control Kurama Iechi with Kido Matsukami, because Black Zetsu was currently possessing his body. Even if he altered Kurama Iechi's will, Black Zetsu could still forcibly control his body. Bang 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 bang, heavenly lightning pillars continuously bombarded the Rashomon gate. The sound of the explosions alone made Hyuga Rika's heart pound. Only her father or older brother could intervene in a battle of this level. The first Rashomon gate held out for more than 10 seconds before being struck away by the chaotic lightning. The second Rashomon gate held out for half a minute before being struck away as well. After the third Rashomon gate was also struck away, the lightning pillar attack finally stopped. What kind of shield is that? It's so sturdy. Kuramayachi was shocked, feeling that the masked man's defensive capabilities were definitely far superior to those of the Hyuga clan. Black Zetsu said in a deep voice, "That's the Rashomon gate. I didn't expect him to even get his hands on something like that." "Rashomon gate? Isn't that the legendary gate?" Kuramayachi asked, puzzled. Black Zetsu offered no explanation, urging, "Use your clan's forbidden technique. You must kill him in one blow, don't give him a chance to recover." Kuramayachi frowned. Forbidden techniques weren't something you could just use on a whim. "Kill him, and I'll immediately give you a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan," Black Zetsu offered enticingly. Alright, Kuramayachi was tempted, a mad glint in his eyes. Using a forbidden technique meant risking his life. He bit his tongue, spitting a mouthful of blood onto his brush, using it as ink to quickly sketch a design. A colossal blood dragon, tens of feet long, materialized in the sky, its body as large as a mountain, terrifying and menacing, its boundless dragon might filling the heavens and earth, inspiring awe. Just as Kuramayachi made his final stroke, he suddenly felt a strong pull, something being drawn from his body. Black Zetsu detached from him, fleeing rapidly into the distance. Kuramayachi was shocked. He didn't understand why Black Zetsu would desert him after he had already used a forbidden technique. Did he think he would be defeated and killed by him? He had no time to investigate further, for a spiral shuriken, imbued with terrifying power, was hurtling towards him. Having used Rashomon to stall for so long, Jojuan had not only entered Sage mode but also unleashed his ultimate attack, throwing it at Kuramayachi without hesitation. Sage Art, Wind Release, Spiral Shuriken. Kuramayachi had no way to dodge and press down on his brush. Moo! The blood dragon roared to the sky, crashing headfirst into the shuriken. Boom! It was as if tens of thousands of explosive tags had detonated simultaneously, emitting a dazzling light, the explosion deafening. The blood dragon and the shuriken were both annihilated, the powerful shockwave sweeping outwards, blowing away vegetation and rocks within a radius of hundreds of meters, stirring up a sandstorm that blotted out the sky. So strong, Elder Hyuga and Hyuga Rika squinted, struggling against the hurricane, deeply shocked. Whether it was the masked man or Kuramayachi, there was no doubt that their strength had reached the level of clan leaders. Immortal Technique, 5 Elements Escape Technique, Wind Escape Instantaneous Movement, Jojuan silently chanted, using the speed he could muster to burst through the dust and appear in front of Kuramayachi, delivering a heavy kick to his chest. PFFT, Kuramayachi coughed up blood and flew backward. Chapter 83 The Strongest Illusion vs. the Strongest Illusion. Jojuan flashed forward, continuing his pursuit, intending to finish him off with a series of taijutsu. "Get out of my way," Kuramayachi roared, swung his brush, and a large amount of ink sprayed out. The ink imprinted over a dozen Rashomon gates. Although not as sturdy as real Rashomon gates, their hardness far exceeded that of ordinary refined iron. Jojuan kicked one away, but it successfully blocked the attack. "In my Genjutsu domain, you only get beaten up." Kuramayachi was furious at Jojuan's counterattack. He knew that even when fighting Sarutobi Sasuke, another of the 7 heroes of the Warring States, he had completely dominated his opponent. No one could gain the upper hands in his Genjutsu domain. Blazing Inferno, Kuramayachi swung his brush, depicting a raging inferno that would incinerate his opponent. Jojuan used the same tactic, using water release to extinguish the sea of fire. Heavenly Punishment, Kuramayachi drew dozens of lightning pillars. Jojuan calmly summoned 5 Rashomon gates. "I refuse to believe you can keep using that ninjutsu." Kuramayachi mustered his strength, biting his tongue and spitting out blood. He used his blood as ink to draw a crimson dragon, which seemed capable of destroying the heavens and the earth, and charged towards Jojuan with ferocity. Sage Art, Wind Release, Rasenshuriken. Jojuan casually unleashed his ultimate move. Boom! A violent explosion followed, and dust billowed up. Kuramayachi's vision was obstructed, so he quickly rose into the air, trying to regain a clear view. Unexpectedly, a figure crashed into his eyes without warning, and was kicked heavily in the chest. PFFT, Kuramayachi spat out blood and flew backward. He suddenly felt that this scene was familiar. Just as he was wondering, he saw Jojuan chasing after him and quickly used his int to create more than a dozen Rashomon gates to block his path. One more time, each time he used the Kurama clan's forbidden technique, he exhausted his life force, but to kill his opponent, Kuramayachi had no choice. He bit his tongue again, spitting out his essence blood, outlining a crimson dragon. Sage Art, Wind Release, Rasenshuriken, boom. In the dust and mist, Jojuan flew up and kicked Kuramayachi in the chest, as if this was a destined cycle of reincarnation. No, Kuramayachi was suddenly horrified, realizing the problem. I seem to be repeating the process of being kicked away by him. He stirred his tongue a couple of times and discovered something even more horrifying. His tongue was completely intact. To use the forbidden technique, he had already bitten his tongue 3 times. How could it be completely intact, let alone broken in half? Could I be under a genjutsu? This thought, once it arose, was impossible to suppress, and Kuramayachi felt a chill run down his spine. If someone had said he was under a genjutsu before, he would have slapped them twice. Are you kidding me? My Kurama clan are the progenitors of illusions. We can manipulate our 5 senses to turn illusions into reality. We've been known as the strongest illusionists since ancient times. What illusion can compare to Kurama's bloodline limit? Yet now, he felt as if he had truly fallen under an illusion, and the crucial point was that he didn't even know when he had been ensnared. No wonder Black Zetsu fled at the last minute. He had already realized he couldn't defeat his opponent. Could it be that I fell under the illusion at that moment? Bang! Just as he was questioning his existence, Jojuan kicked away all the Rashomon gates in front of him, and a kick from the west struck Kuramayachi squarely in the chest, just like the 3 times he had kicked him away before. Ouch! Kuramayachi gasped, his chest feeling as if it was about to explode, the pain burning intensely real. Release. During the fall, he endured the pain and formed the hand seals to dispel the illusion, but it was useless. Kuramayachi gritted his teeth and turned to flee. But how could he possibly outrun Jojuan, who had mastered the 5 elements escape technique? He was quickly caught up and a kick imbued with the power of destiny struck his chest. I am the young patriarch of the Kurama clan. If you spare me, I'll give you anything you want. Kuramayachi finally succumbed to fear and begged Jojuan for mercy. Jojuan sneered, transforming into a merciless chest-kicking machine, and kicked him away again. Kuramayachi was nearly in despair. He feared that if he died in the illusion, he would truly die in reality, and he was forced to fight. But he was no match for Jojuan. After going through the initial few moves, he would be kicked away. Whether he fought, ran away, or begged for mercy, he would always be kicked away. Thus, he repeated his fate again and again in the illusionary space, an endless cycle. In the real world, seeing Kuramayachi fall from the sky, his eyes closed and motionless, Hinata and the others were deeply astonished, not understanding what had happened. Senior, have you killed Kuramayachi? Hinata, being bold, couldn't help but ask. Jojuan shook his head. He's not dead, he's just been caught in a genjutsu. A genjutsu? The 4 exchanged bewildered glances. The young patriarch of the Kurama clan was trapped by a genjutsu? Wasn't their clan's genjutsu the strongest? Izanami was developed by the Uchiha ancestors to counter Izanagi, and since its creation, it had only been used on clan members, therefore, outsiders were unaware of its existence. Seeing their hesitant expressions, Jojuan explained, Kuramayachi's genjutsu is still a bit lacking compared to mine. Hearing this, Hyuga and the others instantly felt a surge of respect for him. Jojuan was telling the truth. While the Kurama clan's genjutsu was indeed extraordinary, it was still inferior to the Sharingan. Both Izanagi and Izanami were slightly superior to Kurama's, and Tsukuyomi was their nemesis, capable of crushing their willpower. In truth, if it weren't for his fear of Black Zetsu, Jojuan could have easily defeated Kuramayachi with a simple Kidomatsu Kami. But reality is reality, and there are no ifs. He ultimately had to use Izanami to stop Kuramayachi. To use Izanami, his right 3-tomo Sharingan had gone blind, but he was currently disguising it with a transformation technique, so the 4 couldn't tell. Thank you for saving our lives. May I ask which ninja clan you belong to? So that we may repay you in the future, the Hyuga elder asked respectfully. I have no ninja clan, I am merely a wandering ronin, Jojuan replied. Of course, not revealing his identity. A Ronin? The four were surprised again. Since you are all alone, would you mind returning to the Hyuga clan with us? The clan head will certainly reward you handsomely. The Hyuga elder was shrewd, realizing the other was a Ronin. He considered recruiting him into the Hyuga clan. How will he repay me? Jojuan countered, seemingly very interested in this so-called reward. Whatever you desire, the clan leader will do his best to fulfill it. Elder Hyuga neither made a definitive statement nor a promise. Jojuan pondered for a moment, then looked at Hyuga Rika, who was staring intently at him, and said with a smile, I think the youngest daughter of the Shianfu clan leader is quite beautiful. I wonder if she could be betrothed to me. Please vote, everyone. Chapter 84 The Masked Man's Advice. The four were genuinely surprised by the masked man's words and were stunned for a moment. Hinata Rika was the first to react. Even with her bold and outspoken personality, she couldn't help but blush deeply. Senpai, don't joke with me. What, is it not allowed? Jojuan pressed. Hinata Rika took a deep breath and said seriously, although Senpai is very powerful, I already have someone I like. Jojuan felt a little jealous upon hearing this and secretly complained, thinking, you just forcibly kissed me not long ago, and it hasn't even been a few months, yet you've already fallen for someone else. What a fickle woman. After all, Hinata Rika had taken his first kiss from him, well, his first kiss in both his past and present lives, so he still cared a little. If it weren't for that kiss, Hinata Rika would have already been pinned to the ground and beaten up by him on some pretext, to avenge her arrogant and disrespectful attitude towards him back then. I was just joking with you. You don't need to answer so seriously. Jojuan waved his hand casually. Hyuga Rika breathed a sigh of relief. Besides, with your skills, you're not good enough for me, Jojuan added. Hyuga Rika's pretty face immediately darkened. Her lips moved, but she ultimately didn't refute him. She suddenly thought of the person she admired. 7 months ago in Uzashio village, she had said the same thing to him, though she was mostly acting out of spite then, since he wouldn't marry her, even though she had already lowered herself. I wonder if Kurama Yachi can break free from your genjutsu. Elder Hyuga, seeing the atmosphere was getting tense, quickly changed the subject. Jojuan nodded. It's still possible for him to break free, as long as he could recognize his true self. He could escape the cycle of fate associated with Izanami. However, he has no chance now. Jojuan waved his hand, unleashing a wind blade that directly severed Kurama Yachi's head, a jet of blood splattering several meters high. Then he used fire jutsu to incinerate Kurama Yachi's corpse into ashes, truly reducing it to dust. Throughout the entire process, the Hyuga clan members remained silent. Regarding the Kurama clan, I have some advice for you, Jojuan said solemnly. Please speak, sir. This ambush of your Hyuga clan members was most likely orchestrated by Kurama Yachi in collusion with Black Zetsu, without the other Kurama clan members' knowledge. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been just Kurama Yachi who laid the ambush, other Kurama clan members would have been involved as well. The Hyuga elder seemed thoughtful. The Kurama clan is currently at war with the Sarutobi clan, so they have no reason to provoke the Hyuga clan at the same time. This also shows that Kurama Yachi's ambush was unauthorized. Under normal circumstances, the Hyuga could easily use this as an excuse to join forces with the Sarutobi clan to attack the Kurama clan. However, the Hyuga is also currently at war with the Kaguya clan, and many people secretly covet the Byakugan. For these reasons, the Hyuga is more afraid of fighting on two fronts than the Kurama. Therefore, I suggest that after you return to your clan, you ask the Tenfu clan leader to temporarily suppress his anger towards the Kurama. Consider joining forces with the Sarutobi clan only after the war with Kaguya is over. This way, your chances of winning on both sides will be much greater. Your words are reasonable. I will convey these words to the clan leader after I return to my clan, the Hyuga elder said, bowing solemnly to Jojuan. He wasn't stupid, he could tell the other party genuinely cared about their clan. Who else would care about the Hyuga's life or death? Well, I've given my suggestion. Whether you listen or not is up to you. At this moment, Jojuan suddenly paused, sensing a group of Hyuga clan members rapidly approaching. His battle with Kurama Yachi had been earth-shattering. Even the Hyuga clan territory, more than 10 kilometers away, could detect the commotion. The Hyuga clan members arriving was only a matter of time. Your clan members are here, we'll take our leave. Jojuan didn't give the four a chance to stop him. He leaped into the sky, manipulating the air currents around him with his wind release technique. speeding towards the horizon. He didn't choose to burrow underground because that method of transportation was too similar to Black Zetsu's. His current persona was that of a masked hero of righteous justice. "Your Excellency," the Hyuga elder hurriedly called out, but Jojuan quickly disappeared from his sight. "This senior, he really doesn't want our thanks," one of the 4 Hyuga youths was surprised. "Giving without expecting anything in return, that's true chivalry. No wonder he calls himself the masked hero," another said. "He did expect something in return. He just said he wanted to marry Miss Rika, but Miss Rika didn't agree, so he left," including the Hyuga elder. The 3 of them looked at Hyuga Rika strangely, thinking that the masked hero left because of her. Rika was both ashamed and angry. The masked hero had saved the 4 of them, and she was indeed grateful to him, but this gratitude could not be equated with liking. There was no such thing as a hero saving a damsel in distress. She liked that special chunin from Uzashio village. 5th Elder, Miss Rika, what just happened here? Not long after Jojuan left, the Hyuga clan's reinforcements finally arrived. Looking at the battle scene riddled with holes, they could not hide their shock. "Let's talk about it back at the clan headquarters," the Hyuga elder sighed. Today's events definitely needed to be reported to the Hyuga clan headquarters. Telling ordinary clan members was useless. In the distance, Jojuan, sensing Rika and the others returning to the Hyuga clan headquarters through Kagura's mind's eye, breathed a sigh of relief. This battle not only cost us a 3-tomo Sharingan, but more importantly, Black Zetsu escaped. It was a complete loss. Jojuan sighed in frustration, removing his worn-out right Sharingan and replacing it with the Devil Eye, his movements even faster than changing contact lenses. He didn't want to let Black Zetsu escape, but there was nothing he could do. Black Zetsu is too cautious and slippery. As soon as he saw Jojuan enter Sage Mode, he knew Kiramayachi was no match and immediately fled without hesitation. By the time Jojuan finished off Kiramayachi, Black Zetsu had already vanished without a trace. Even with Kagura's mind's eye, he couldn't sense him, suggesting Black Zetsu had some special method to block senses. This battle with Kiramayasu proves my guess was correct. With a millennium approaching, Black Zetsu can no longer hide. He is indeed targeting the Uchiha and Hyuga clans to retaliate against me. And even intends to use the Kirama clan as a pawn to destroy the Hyuga. Jojuan pondered silently, considering Black Zetsu's next move and how he should respond. If he were Black Zetsu, he would continue targeting the Hyuga until they were wiped out. The Uchiha clan is difficult to deal with due to Madara's presence and their seclusion, making it easier to target the Hyuga. Jojuan didn't want the Hyuga clan to be wiped out. Firstly, he hadn't yet achieved his goal of fusing the Tenseigan. Secondly, the Hyuga clan was now practically an ally of the Uzumaki clan. If they fell, the power structure of the Land of Fire would be reshuffled, which would be detrimental to the Uzumaki. Chapter 85 The Battle with Black Zetsu. He had previously asked the Hyuga elders to convey his suggestion to the Hyuga clan for this very reason. He sincerely hoped that the Hyuga clan could win the war, or at least survive Black Zetsu's scheme. The power struggle between Jojuan and Black Zetsu officially began, revolving around whether the Hyuga clan would be exterminated. Both were behind-the-scenes manipulators in the ninja world, using various ninja clans as pawns in their battle. However, 2 tigers cannot share one mountain, and the outcome of this confrontation would determine who would become the sole mastermind. Speaking of which, I've already killed 2 of the 7 heroes of the warring states. Now, only Sarutobi Sasuke remains unseen, Jojuan suddenly thought. The 7 heroes of the warring states were Hashirama, Mito, Madara, Hyuga Tenin, Kaguya Sengoku, Kuramayachi, and Sarutobi Sasuke. Jojuan had met 6 of them, even personally killing 2, but he had never even met Sarutobi Sasuke. Jojuan was quite curious about this man who was the 3rd Hokage's father in the original story and shared the same name as Sasuke, and he really wanted to see him in person. Uchiha Fugaku was courting death, naming his son after the 3rd Hokage. No wonder the 3rd Hokage wiped out the Uchiha clan. Meanwhile, Hyuga Rika, the 5th elder, and others returned to the clan compound and went directly to Hyuga Tenfu, telling him about the ambush by Kuramayachi and the masked man's rescue. Hyuga Tenfu was so enraged that veins bulged on his forehead, and he summoned a meeting of the clan's higher-ranking members. The Kurama clan is going too far. Don't they realize they're locked in a stalemate with the Sarutobi clan? If we join forces with Sarutobi, what will the Kurama clan do to stop us? We must declare war on the Kurama clan. We can't swallow this insult. Luckily, we bought the caged bird seal from the Uzumaki clan in time, otherwise everyone would be eyeing our Byakugan, and that would be terrible. The only way forward is for us to win a resounding victory to deter these villains in the shadows. Many Hyuga elders, known for their fiery tempers, unanimously advocated for war. Having their clan's eyes targeted time and again was unbearable for anyone. The eldest elder, more composed, slowly said, "I think the masked swordsman's advice is very reasonable. We are already at war with the Kaguya clan, and it is really not advisable to antagonize Kurama as well, otherwise, even if we ultimately win, we will pay a heavy price." An elder disagreed. "Are we just going to swallow our pride?" Although the Kaguya clan was severely weakened after the battle with the Uzumaki, they have recently allied with the Hazuki clan of the Land of Water. We know very little about foreign ninja clans, so we still cannot underestimate them. Moreover, because of that rumor, the Hyuga clan is isolated and helpless. Countless people, openly and secretly, covet the Byakugan. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say we are enemies of the world. I suggest we follow the example of the Uchiha clan and retreat into seclusion until this storm passes. During the meeting, the elders spoke all at once, some advocating war, some seclusion, and others continuing to seek help from the Uzumaki. The Hyuga clan was overwhelmed by the noise. Could the Hyuga clan really be facing a major crisis? A crisis that could lead to their annihilation? Hyuga Tenfu couldn't help but ask himself. A vague unease creeping in. If only the Uzumaki clan would ally with us. After all, they and the Kaguya clan are sworn enemies. At this moment, an elder voiced his thoughts. Don't be delusional. Uzushio village is currently thriving, and Uzumaki Dragon is only interested in a steady, cautious development. He's unwilling to get involved in our war, another elder said sarcastically. Perhaps he's even hoping for both clans to be severely weakened so he can reap the benefits. The elders had their reasons for saying this. When the Hyuga and Kaguya first declared war, Hyuga Tenfu went to Uzushio village to seek an alliance with Uzumaki Dragon, but was politely refused, which caused resentment among many Hyuga clan members. Ultimately, it's because our relationship with the Uzumaki clan isn't close enough. If Rika had successfully married Uzumaki Ryu's son back then, he certainly wouldn't have stood idly by. This unexpected remark instantly disrupted Rika Hyuga's composure. Thinking back to what happened, she felt a pang of resentment towards her father. She felt he should have insisted. Once he promised a marriage alliance, it had to be arranged. How could he cancel it just because of that boy's few words? It was too untrustworthy. However, with a young girl's pride, she couldn't possibly ask her father to arrange another marriage alliance with Uzumaki Ryu. Before, marrying Uzumaki Jojuan was a step down for her. Now, marrying him would be a step up. Stop arguing. Let's put the war with the Kurama clan on hold for now. Hinata Tenfu finally interrupted the debate. Anyway, if we don't declare war, Kurama won't go to war with us. After the war with Kaguya ends, we'll decide whether to go to war with Kurama based on the situation. He was helpless. His daughter had been ambushed and killed by Kurama Yachi. To be fair, his anger towards the Kurama clan was greater than that towards the Kaguya clan, and of course he wanted to annihilate them. But as the clan leader, every decision he made had a significant impact, and he had to consider the interests of the entire clan, not act impulsively. Jojuan, just like the previous month, quietly lurked near the Hyuga clan's territory. A day passed, and he didn't sense any unusual chakra movements from the Hyuga clan members, secretly relieved. It seems that Hyuga Tenfu listened to my advice and didn't choose to fight on two fronts. That's good. He had been very worried, fearing that Hyuga Tenfu would act impulsively and go to war with both Kaguya and Kurama at the same time. That would greatly increase the difficulty of his struggle with Black Zetsu, making it difficult for him to help the Hyuga clan. Fortunately, Hyuga Tenfu was a rational person. The best way to help the Hyuga clan would actually be for Jojuan to persuade his father to form an alliance between the Uzumaki clan and the Hyuga. This way, they wouldn't be afraid even if the Hyuga fought Kaguya and Kurama simultaneously. However, Jojuan didn't do this because Black Zetsu was very clever. He could very well deduce from the Uzumaki's actions that he was a member of the Uzumaki clan. Jojuan didn't want his clan to be targeted by Black Zetsu, so even if the Hyuga clan was ultimately wiped out, he wouldn't let the Uzumaki clan get involved. In the original story, the Uzumaki clan's annihilation was likely orchestrated by Black Zetsu behind the scenes, using various forces as pawns. After all, Black Zetsu can't be killed, only sealed, and the Uzumaki clan's sealing techniques are the best in the ninja world, posing a significant threat to him. Thinking of this, Jojuan's fear of Black Zetsu grew even stronger. If he didn't eliminate him, the Uzumaki clan's future situation would remain very precarious. Black Zetsu, you just wait. If you manage to escape unscathed from me again, I, Jojuan, will take your surname. Jojuan secretly vowed, his determination to eliminate Black Zetsu unwavering. He then began a long period of infiltration, remaining calm and patiently awaiting Black Zetsu's next move. In the blink of an eye, another month passed. During this month, the Hyuga clan and the Kaguya clan fought 3 battles, each a resounding victory. Chapter 86 Night Raid Showdown. The Kaguya clan's defeat seemed inevitable. The battle at the Ninja Iron Mine had severely weakened them, their spines had been broken by the Uzumaki and Senju clans, resulting in heavy casualties and even the death of their young leader. In terms of both basic strength and elite combat power, they were no match for the Hyuga. It's worth noting that the Shimura clan had officially allied with the Hyuga, further increasing the pressure on the Kaguya. Judging from the current situation, in at most 2 more months, the Kaguya clan should be wiped out, or at the very least, reduced to a small ninja clan. Jojuan assessed the situation. Since the Hyuga had won every battle decisively, and Black Zetsu hadn't shown his face, he had remained hidden. He believed Black Zetsu wouldn't stand idly by while the Hyuga absorbed the Kaguya clan and expanded their power. He would definitely make a move in the next 2 months, and Jojuan's job was to keep an eye on the Hyuga. Half a month later, 10 large ships sailed from the east under cover of darkness and quietly docked on the coast of the Land of Fire, carrying war supplies from the Hazuki clan to support the Kaguya clan. Upon receiving the intelligence, Shimura Sando, the head of the Shimura clan, immediately informed Hyuga Tenfu, advising him to quickly dispatch clansmen to intercept the supplies. Hyuga Tenfu, a meticulous strategist, first sent a scout team to verify the intelligence. The scout team confirmed with their Byakugan that the people on the ship were indeed all Hazuki clan members, and that they were indeed transporting explosive tags, ninja tools, and kunai. Clan head Tenfu, this is a golden opportunity. There are so many supplies that the Kaguya clan won't be able to unload them all in a few days. We can launch a surprise attack while they are loading and unloading, catching them completely off guard, Chief Shimura said eagerly. He was now tied to the Hyuga clan, and defeating the Kaguya clan would greatly benefit him, hence his enthusiasm. Hyuga Tenfu pondered for a long time, concluding that this was indeed a good opportunity for a surprise attack. If the Kaguya clan successfully received the supplies, it would be extremely detrimental to the upcoming battle. So, late the next night, Hyuga Tenfu and Shimura Sando summoned the main forces of their 2 clans and headed to the coast. Should we launch a night raid? Jojuan, who was lurking in the shadows, sensed the unusual chakra activity of the Hyuga clan members and instantly became alert, trailing far behind them. He was surprised by the sheer number of Hyuga clan members participating in this attack. It was a veritable elite force, demonstrating their determination to succeed in tonight's raid. The Hazuki clan had sent a vast amount of supplies, and the Kaguya clan had spent a full day and night unloading them, managing only to unload a third of the required amount. As Hyuga Tenfu approached the coast, he used his Byakugan to scout and saw hundreds of Kaguya clan members busily unloading supplies from the ships, with a dozen or so Hazuki clan members mixed in among them, seemingly racing against time. Hurry up, everyone. We must get all the supplies back to the clan territory before the Hyuga clan can react. With the Hazuki clan's help, our chance to turn the tide is just around the corner. Hyuga Tenfu, through lip reading, learned the conversation between an elder of the Kaguya clan and his people on a certain ship, and his heart swelled with confidence. Gentle fist technique, 8 trigrams mountain-shattering strike, he led his clansmen, charging ahead and unleashing a devastating attack. A beam of laser light, entirely condensed from chakra, shot out, covering hundreds of meters and destroying half of a ship's hull. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! The Kaguya clansmen instantly descended into chaos, shouts rising and falling. Wind release, vacuum wave, the first shot of war is often fired by the clan leader. Shimura Sando also unleashed a long-range attack, several vacuum waves continuously spewing from his mouth, cratering another ship. The Kaguya clansmen grew increasingly agitated. Silence, a stern voice rang out, and Kaguya emerged from the cabin. His appearance instantly calmed the crowd, who gathered around him as if seeing their leader. Hyuga Tenfu, You've arrived. Kaguya surveyed the large enemy force before him, his expression solemn. Tonight, we, the Hyuga, will settle things once and for all, Hyuga Tenfu declared, meeting his gaze coldly. At this moment, his side held an absolute advantage in both numbers and strength, confident of defeating their opponents. You're still too naive, Kaguya shook his head, a meaningful smile suddenly appearing on his face. For some reason, seeing that smile sent a chill down Hyuga Tenfu's spine. Jojuan, lurking in the distance, possessed even sharper intuition, immediately using his Kagura mind's eye to sense a ninja force rapidly approaching the shore several kilometers away on the sea. It's the Hazuki clan, Jojuan suddenly realized, immediately deducing the cause and effect. Kaguya and Inu must have anticipated Hyuga Tenfu's nighttime attack and simply joined forces with the Hazuki clan for a counter-ambush. The Hazuki are a foreign ninja clan, why are they meddling in this? Aren't they afraid of being ganged up on? Jojuan frowned. Although the Land of Fire was currently embroiled in war, the various ninja clans there had a strong sense of national identity and would never allow foreign ninja clans to act arrogantly on their territory. Foreign ninja clans had invaded the Land of Fire before, but whenever this happened, the major ninja clans of the Land of Fire would unite to expel them, and those foreign ninja clans were invariably soundly defeated, ultimately fleeing with their tails between their legs. Your Hyuga's enemies have never been just Kaguya, Kaguya and Inu mocked, utterly confident. Hyuga Tenfu also sensed something was wrong at this moment, using his Byakugan to look towards the sea, seeing hundreds of Hazuki clan members using water release techniques to ride the waves from afar. So fast, Hyuga Tenfu was secretly shocked. He knew that the Hazuki clan were proficient in water-style techniques, especially fast on water. Initially, to avoid Byakugan detection, they had been lying in wait in the sea several kilometers away so that they could arrive as quickly as possible when the ambush began. Ha, clan chief Inu, I'm not late, am I? Accompanied by laughter, a middle-aged man with a sinister face leaped out of the sea and stood on the mast of a large ship. Not late, you've arrived just in time, Kaguya and Inu returned his smile. The middle-aged man was no ordinary person, he was Hazuki and Zetsu, the clan chief of the Hazuki clan, who had now become a loyal ally of the Kaguya clan. Kaguya and Inu dared not underestimate him. It's Hazuki and Zetsu. Shimura Sando's pupils shrank, recognizing Hazuki and Zetsu's identity. He was no stranger to Hazuki and Zetsu, as the latter had led his clan to invade the Land of Fire 7 years ago. However, Hazuki and Zetsu had been soundly defeated and quickly fled back to the Land of Water in a sorry state. There's no need to panic, Hyuga Tenfu said in a deep voice. Even if Kaguya has the support of the Hazuki clan, at most they will only be evenly matched with us. Chapter 87 We have a traitor among us. Shimura Sando's expression was slightly bitter. I originally wanted to catch Kaguya off guard, but I didn't expect him to be prepared and waiting for a decisive battle. Just as the two were speaking, hundreds of Hazuki clan members leaped out of the sea one after another, joining the Kaguya clan's ranks. Hazuki and Zetsu, you still dare to come to the Land of Fire? It seems you've forgotten the painful lesson of 7 years ago? Hyuga Tenfu stared intently at the suddenly appearing enemy. How, what painful lesson? If it weren't for the combined efforts of your ninja clans back then, whether the Land of Fire would even exist now is uncertain, Hazuki and Zetsu said casually, not taking Hyuga Tenfu's sarcasm to heart. In a one-on-one fight, none of your ninja clans in the Land of Fire can defeat you. This statement had a wide-ranging impact, even affecting their allies. Kaguya's lips twitched, but she remained silent. Arrogant boasting, Hyuga Tenfu sneered. He knew perfectly well that the other party was exaggerating. The image of Hazuki and Zetsu fleeing for his life like a stray dog 7 years ago was still vivid in his mind. Hyuga Tenfu was too lazy to waste any more words with him and whispered to Shimura Sando, Clan head Sando, we Hyuga will deal with the Hazuki clan. The Kaguya clan is yours. Even if we can't severely damage Kaguya in this battle, we must destroy all the supplies on the ship. Shimura Sando nodded solemnly. Okay, no problem. As soon as he finished speaking, he resolutely stepped forward to face Kaguya, his hands quickly forming hand seals to unleash a powerful attack. Wind release, vacuum great ball. Kaguya, however, remained unmoved, even revealing a strange smile on her lips. Shimura Sando took a huge gulp of air like a whale swallowing a ton of air, then suddenly leaned back, his entire body folded like a piece of paper, and spat out a twisted, transparent air cannon from his mouth, which slammed hard into Hyuga Tenfu's chest. Bang! Caught completely off guard, Hyuga Tenfu was struck squarely by Shimura Sando's powerful attack. His chest bones shattered instantly, and he was sent flying backward, spitting blood. The scene unfolded so suddenly, catching everyone off guard and leaving countless people stunned. Even Zhou Zhuan, who was secretly lurking, was dumbfounded, never expecting such a traitor among us scenario to unfold. After recovering, he initially thought Shimura Sando was possessed and controlled by Black Zetsu. Father, Hyuga Tenin and Hyuga Rika cried out in grief simultaneously. The latter rushed to help Hyuga Tenfu, while the former unleashed a Bagua Palm attack on Shimura Sando. Shimura Sando, prepared, didn't engage Hyuga Tenin. Having landed a blow, he immediately flew to the ship, followed closely by the Shimura clan members. Clearly, this was a premeditated betrayal. Clan Chief Sando, well done. Kaguya walked up to Shimura Sando with a beaming smile, praising him highly. You deserve the main credit for the smooth execution of tonight's plan. Shimura Sando didn't mince words, nodding calmly. That's what I should do. Just give me 40% of the Hyuga clan's wealth, and 50 pairs of Byakugan, as agreed before. Of course, no problem. Kaguya's smile remained unchanged, quite decisive. Hazuki Injetsu chimed in, don't worry, we'll divide it exactly as agreed beforehand. Upon hearing this, the Hyuga clan members immediately understood what had happened. They had been tricked by the three clans. Shimura Sando, you betrayed your allies, you despicable and shameless villain, you deserve to die a horrible death. Hyuga Tenjin glanced at his father, whose chest was mangled, his eyes bloodshot as he glared at Shimura Sando. Say what you want, Shimura Sando shrugged indifferently. Anyway, after tonight, your Hyuga clan will be wiped out of the land of fire, and our Shimura clan will replace you as the new great clan, bastard. Hyuga Rika burst into tears of anger, wishing she could pounce on Shimura Sando and bite him to death. In the distance, even Zhou Zhuan was disgusted by Shimura Sando's shameless face. He felt that even the worst person should have a bottom line. For example, when he gouged out eyes, he only gouged out the eyes of corpses that had just been killed by the enemy on the battlefield. Those people were already dead. But he couldn't bring himself to kill someone he had no connection with or kidnap a Hyuga clan member to break the caged bird seal in order to get eyes. Shimura Sando, on the other hand, had no bottom line and was evil to the core. He would betray his allies for the Byakugan, and he would stop at nothing. As expected, the Shimura clan has never been good. There's a reason Danzo became the scapegoat. Like father, like son, the Hyuga clan is in serious trouble now. While despising the Shimura clan, Zhou Zhuan was also worried about the Hyuga. With their ally betraying them and Hyuga Tenfu suffering a severe blow, the Hyuga clan's situation instantly deteriorated to the extreme. He certainly didn't believe that Black Zetsu wasn't behind all these events. Shimura Sando, why did you do this? Hyuga Tenfu struggled to his feet with his daughter's help, questioning him in a trembling voice. His injuries were severe. Shimura Sando's full force attack had struck a vital point, leaving his chest a bloody mess, and his beating heart could even be seen through the flesh. A commoner is innocent, but possessing a treasure is a crime. Tenfu clan chief, you can't blame me. Blame your clan for having the Byakugan that anyone can transplant, Shimura Sando replied matter-of-factly, showing no remorse whatsoever. The Shimura clan has a large population, but due to the lack of a bloodline limit, they have always remained a mid-sized ninja clan. Shimura Sando desperately desires a bloodline limit. Hyuga Tenfu, you're already useless. Facing the combined attack of our three clans, your Hyuga is outnumbered and has no chance of resisting. Kaguya stated the facts. If you know what's good for you, surrender with your clan and hand over the method to break the caged bird seal. You're dreaming, Hyuga Rika interrupted him excitedly. Even if we all die, we won't let you have your way. After tonight, this proud Hyuga princess will probably grow up. Zhou Zhuan sighed silently. His impression of Hyuga Rika was that of an immature little girl, like a haughty white swan. Her coming to his dower in Uzushio village to cause trouble, forcibly kissing him, and her recent falling in love with someone else, these were not things a sensible adult would do. Yes, even if we die in battle, we will never surrender. You three clans are despicable and shameless. We'll fight you to the death. The Hyuga clan members roared in unison, their faces filled with tragic determination, some even wearing their resolve to die on their sleeves. Everyone knew perfectly well that Shimura Sando Kaguya, and the others were after the Byakugan, surrendering would be tantamount to death for them. Hyuga Tenfu, do you truly want your clan to perish together? Kaguya asked coldly. Of course you can rally all the clan members present to fight to the death, but what about those Hyuga clan members left behind to guard the clan's territory? Chapter 88 I am your father, I am your father. Even if you don't hand over the method to break the caged bird seal, we can still obtain the Byakugan. You may not be afraid of death, but I don't believe the Hyuga clan members remaining in the clan's territory are equally fearless, Kaguya continued. We can easily keep those people in the Hyuga clan's territory captive, letting them reproduce and provide us with Byakugan generation after generation. But if you hand over the method to break the caged bird seal, we can allow you to release some people back to the clan's territory now to inform the rest of the clan, so that we can escape in advance and preserve the Hyuga clan's lineage. Kaguya clearly stated the pros and cons if possible. He would prefer to devour the Hyuga clan without bloodshed. Moreover, he was eager to seek revenge against the Uzumaki clan and couldn't wait to obtain the Byakugan, nor could he wait for the Hyuga clan members to reproduce for so long. He also felt that if the Kaguya clan members obtained the Byakugan's bloodline limit, combined with their existing Shikatsu Myaku, corpse bone pulse, their combat power would undoubtedly increase by a level. If they also obtained the Sharingan, with the 3 bloodline limits combined, they would surely sweep across the land of fire without being invincible. The Hyuga clan members trembled with rage at Kaguya's words, feeling an unprecedented insult. If looks could kill, Kaguya would be riddled with holes from her glare. Kaguya, you old scoundrel, how could your heart be so vicious? Hyuga Tenfu gritted his teeth in hatred, a profound sense of powerlessness engulfing him. He wanted to kill the villain, but he was powerless to reverse the situation. He had brought the clan's main force for tonight's surprise attack, but as Kaguya had said, the Hyuga's main force alone was no match for the combined forces of Kaguya, Shimura, and Hazuki. A crushing defeat was inevitable. And once the main force was defeated, the old, young, women, and children of the clan would be at the mercy of the enemy, facing the imminent threat of extinction, without warning, without even time to prepare. Tenin, Rika, Elder, lead the clansmen to break through the encirclement with all your might. Save as many as you can and go to Uzumaki village to seek help from Uzumaki Dragon. Now, only the Uzumaki clan can save us, Hyuga Tenfu instructed his children and elders as if entrusting his final wishes. Then, with a hardened heart, he added, if Uzumaki Dragon saves us, we, the Hyuga, will join Uzumaki village and become an affiliated ninja clan of the Uzumaki clan. Father, Hyuga Rika cried, her eyes blurry with tears. She knew her father was truly helpless, otherwise, he wouldn't have said such things. Since birth, she had never felt such despair. Don't cry. We've failed tonight, but there may be opportunities for revenge in the future, Hyuga Tenfu smiled bitterly. As long as you're alive, there's hope. Clan Chief Tenfu, are you going to hand over the solution to the caged bird seal or not? Shimura Sando urged impatiently. Seeing Hyuga Tenfu whispering to his clansmen, he instinctively felt that he wouldn't be honest. Run! At this moment, Hyuga Tenfu roared with all his might, his eyes regaining their light. Kill! Hyuga Tenin and the elders wiped away their tears of sorrow, disregarding everything else, and immediately led their clansmen out of the encirclement. Stubborn fools, courting death, Hazuki and Jetsu, Kaguya, and Shimura Sando were furious, ordering their clansmen to kill them all. Leave no one alive, kill them all. Hyuga Tenfu, do you really want the Hyuga clan to be wiped out? Shimura Sando, as a traitor, wanted to destroy the Hyuga clan even more than the other 2 clan leaders. If any Hyuga clansman escaped, it would be bad for him. Therefore, he was the first to act, leaping towards Hyuga Tenfu. I'll fight you to the death. Hyuga Rika was filled with grief and indignation. She didn't plan to escape, she wanted to stay and die with her father. Wind release, vacuum great ball, Shimura Sando quickly formed hand seals in midair, taking a deep breath to unleash his ultimate attack. 8 trigrams mountain shattering strike, Hyuga Rika responded with her strongest attack. I have no choice but to act, Jojuan sighed softly. He had originally planned to find Black Zetsu's trail before making his move, but the current situation did not allow him to delay. The Hyuga clan could not withstand the encirclement and attack of the 3 clans, and casualties were occurring every second. Small farewell god, Jojuan instantly released the seal on his left main Gekkyou Sharingan, staring intently at Shimura Sando. His spirit penetrated Shimura's brain through the power of the main Gekkyou Sharingan, altering his thoughts and will. I am your father, I am your father, huh? Shimura Sando, who was briefly gathering power for the Vacuum Ulgon, was stunned. The next moment, he did something that surprised everyone. He suddenly leaned back and bent over, his whole body folding like a piece of paper, and shot out a twisted, transparent air cannon that slammed into Kaguya's chest. Kaguya was completely stunned, only managing a scream before a cloud of blood exploded from her chest, sending her flying backward and crashing into the ship's cabin. Clan Chief, the Kaguya elders were horrified. Some rushed to Kaguya's aid, while others berated Shimura Sando. Damn it, what are you doing? At the same time, Hyuga Rika's Bagua mountain-shattering strike struck Shimura Sando's arm, ripping off his left arm, blood gushing out. However, Shimura Sando paid no heed, merely glancing at the severed arm on the ground before turning to attack Kaguya. Shimura Sando, I demand an explanation. A Kaguya elder blocked his path, coldly demanding, why did you ambush our clan chief? Bang! Shimura Sando swiftly swung his kunai, sending him flying. The other Kaguya elders were stunned for a moment, then belatedly realized what was happening and shouted wildly, the Shimura clan's betrayal was a lie. They colluded with the Hyuga clan and never allied with us, Shimura Sando sneered repeatedly. Now you realize? Too late. Upon hearing this, the Kaguya Grand Elder was enraged, feeling as if Shimura Sando had thoroughly humiliated his clan's intelligence. He immediately rushed to Shimura Sando and engaged him in battle. You, Shimura Sando. I never expected you to have two faces, you damned spy within a spy. All Kaguya clan members, listen to my command. The Shimura clan has betrayed us. Kill all the Shimura clan members. The Kaguya Grand Elder gave the order in a fit of rage, his voice booming like thunder across the battlefield, stunning all four clans. Some Kaguya clan members who were unaware of the situation turned around and saw their Grand Elder locked in fierce combat with a one-armed Shimura Sando. Their blood rushed to their heads. Brothers! The Shimura clan are traitors. Kill them, damn Shimura traitors, turncoats, I'll chop you all to pieces. Some Kaguya clan members abandoned their attempt to surround and kill the Hyuga clan members, instead choosing to target the Shimura clan members who were closer to them, raising their murderous blades. The sudden catastrophe left the entire Shimura clan stunned. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89. Are all the ninjas of the Land of Fire this barbaric in their battles? What? We've betrayed them again. The Shimura clan members were filled with question marks. Before tonight's operation, their clan leader had clearly stated their position. They had indeed betrayed the Hyuga clan, so how could they be betraying the Kaguya clan now? Who were their allies? The Shimura elders were the most bewildered. As high-ranking members of the clan, they knew the tonight's battle plan perfectly well. Brother, it's a misunderstanding. There must be a misunderstanding. We're allies, we haven't betrayed them. Misunderstanding my foot. Your clan leader even ambushed our clan leader. If this is a misunderstanding, I'll cut off my head and use it as a chamber pot. Ignoring the Shimura clan's explanations, the Kaguya clan members went on a rampage, hacking and slashing indiscriminately. At this moment, their killing intent towards the Shimura clan members was even stronger than that towards the Hyuga clan members. After all, from a psychological perspective, ungrateful traitors are the most hateful. Elder Shimura was frantic. Even if he had a mouthful of words, he couldn't explain himself. He hurriedly asked Shimura Sando, Clan Chief, have we betrayed us? Say something. While fiercely fighting Elder Kaguya, Shimura Sando calmly replied, don't ask. The answer is infernal affairs. Infernal affairs? Elder Shimura had never been so bewildered in his life. He desperately wanted to ask what infernal affairs meant, but he was surrounded by Kaguya's clan members and had to fight back with all his might to save his life. Damn it, I'll fight you to the death. If you want to kill me, ask my kunai first. Good heavens. The clan chief is really good at hiding information, so well that even we don't know who the enemy is. Faced with the Kaguya clan's defection, the Shimura clan members, though initially caught off guard, quickly recovered. After all, life is always in danger on the battlefield. Without intelligence, one wouldn't survive long. So they also defected, engaging in a fierce battle with the Kaguya clan. Charge! Every last one of us who can escape, let's go find the Uzumaki clan for help. On the other side, Hyuga Tennin was leading his clansmen in a desperate fight, trying to break through the encirclement. However, halfway through, he suddenly realized something was wrong. It seemed like nobody was paying attention to them at all. He looked back and almost popped his Byakugan eyes out. Shimura and Kaguya were fighting even more fiercely than they were. What's going on? Hyuga Tennin was completely confused, but as the young head of the Hyuga clan, his war instincts were exceptionally sharp, and he quickly understood the situation. Shimura and Kaguya are fighting amongst themselves. He was absolutely certain of this, because Shimura had truly betrayed the Hyuga clan. The wound on his father's chest was undeniable. With Shimura and Kaguya fighting amongst themselves, the enemy was down to only the Hazuki clan. What was there to fear? Hyuga Tennin reacted with lightning speed, immediately leading his clansmen back in a counterattack, launching a head-on attack on the Hazuki clan. Stop running. Kill. Annihilate the Hazuki clan. Hyuga Tennin was like a war god, killing a Hazuki clansman with a single palm strike. He charged through the crowd, leaving everyone in disarray. Even the Hazuki elder couldn't withstand the power of his 8 trigrams palm. On a certain ship, Hazuki Injetsu stared at the chaotic battlefield before him, his lips twitching violently, his face filled with disbelief. Are all the ninjas of the Land of Fire this barbaric in their battles? Allies, turned around and stabbed you in the back so easily? Where is their honor? Where are their morals? Everyone says that the battlefield situation is unpredictable and ever-changing, but Hazuki Injetsu had never seen anything like this before. He felt he had truly learned something new tonight. Stop. Stop it. Stop fighting. Coming to his senses, Hazuki Injetsu quickly stopped Shimura Sando and Elder Kaguya. With our 3 clans joining forces, the Hyuga's Byakugan is within our grasp. How can we fight amongst ourselves at a time like this? However, the 2 were already bloodthirsty and couldn't stop. Hazuki Injetsu tried to stop them, but was instead brutally beaten by the 2. I hate it. I hate it so much. At this moment, Kaguya, half covered in blood, crawled out of the ruins, crying out in anguish to the sky. I was truly blind. I've been betrayed by those scoundrels every time. God, why do you torment me like this? No one knew how devastated Kaguya was at this moment. Last time, he allied with the Uchiha clan, but the Uchiha were complete traitors, repeatedly abandoning their allies on the battlefield, causing his Kaguya clan to be utterly routed by the Uzumaki and Senju. He thought that secretly allying with the Shimura clan this time would be better, but the Shimura clan betrayed him even more, launching a sneak attack that would kill him instantly. Why can't I find reliable allies? Kaguya grew angrier and angrier, vomiting blood several times in a fit of rage. He felt he really needed a new pair of eyes. His current eyes saw no one clearly. Clan Chief you must stop your great elder. We can't let this infighting with the Shimura clan continue. Hazuki Injetsu, seeing Kaguya crawl out of the ruins, immediately showed joy and came to discuss the matter with him. However, Kaguya's attitude terrified him. Stop my ass. Kill. Kill all these scoundrels. Kaguya's eyes were wide open, screaming kill hysterically, wanting to destroy everything. His entire chest was ripped open, a fatal wound that couldn't be healed with current medical technology. He only wanted to drag the Shimura clan down to hell with him before he died, and if he could drag the Uchiha clan down with him, even better. Hazuki Injetsu felt a chill run down his spine, sensing that his ally had gone mad. Looking back at the battlefield, his own clan's forces were being routed by the Hyuga clan, completely outmatched. Meanwhile, the Kaguya and Shimura clans were locked in fierce combat. This battle is hopeless, he suddenly regretted coming to the Land of Fire. The battlefield there was too treacherous, he couldn't handle it. Now, even his clan's survival was uncertain. Don't worry, I'm here, a voice echoed from the depths of Hazuki Injetsu's heart. Go ahead and do it. Kill as many Hyuga clansmen as you can. I'll give you what I promised. These words seemed to possess a certain magic, calming Hazuki Injetsu considerably. He gritted his teeth, steeling his resolve. The situation was already chaotic, allies were unreliable. Even if he lost this war, he at least wanted to earn a pair of Byakugan eyes. With that thought, he turned and focused on the heavily wounded Hyuga Tenfu in the distance, using his body flicker technique to charge at him. Great! We've turned the tide, Rika Hinata cried tears of joy. Although she didn't know what had happened, The infighting between Kaguya and Shimura was undoubtedly great news. Their Hinata clan was saved. Just as she was overjoyed, she suddenly caught sight of a dark figure running straight toward her father. Chapter 90 Maneuvering and Taking Action. Stop! Hyuga Rika decisively intercepted her opponent, unleashing a flurry of 8 trigram 64 palm strikes at the black figure. Uzuki Injutsu was forced to stop, and had no choice but to exchange a few blows with her using taijutsu. Bang bang bang, Hyuga Rika poured all her strength into each strike, a large amount of chakra splashing out, accurately striking the tiny pressure points on Uzuki Injutsu's arms. In no time, Uzuki Injutsu felt his hands go numb, and the flow of chakra was restricted. The Hyuga clan's gentle fist technique is indeed quite something. Uzuki Injutsu was secretly shocked, not expecting that a girl who looked only 15 or 16 years old could suppress him in taijutsu. However, my strength is not taijutsu. Uzuki Injutsu's eyes suddenly turned cold, abandoning defense and attacking directly, charging straight at Hyuga Rika. Hyuga Rika struck his head with a palm, but unexpectedly, Uzuki Injutsu transformed into a ball of water and exploded, a bizarre scene that slightly surprised her. Rika, watch out, Hinata Tenfu cried out in alarm. Countless water droplets condensed behind Hinata Rika, forming Uzuki Injutsu. Hinata Rika quickly turned her head, and Uzuki Injutsu's 2 fingers shot out, aiming for her eyes. The ever-growing fingers were reflected in her pupils. Oh no, in that instant, Hinata Rika felt her life was about to end. However, just as she was filled with despair, a familiar voice suddenly rang in her ears. Get out of the way, Jojuan flashed above Hinata Rika's head, delivering a powerful kick imbued with earth release, super heavy rock technique, slamming Uzuki Injutsu across the face. Uzuki Injutsu shot back hundreds of meters like a cannonball, finally crashing into the sea and creating a huge wave. A masked man. Hinata Rika stared blankly at the man above her. He was still dressed as he had been a month and a half ago, his face veiled, a cloak billowing behind him. Take care of your father. Jojuan didn't say anything more, leaving only these words before flying towards the sea. He had just sensed a very familiar aura on Uzuki Injutsu, the aura of Black Zetsu. Rika, is that the masked man who saved you before? Hyuga Rika was still staring blankly at the masked man's back, feeling as if he could hold up an entire world. Standing behind that figure, even if the sky collapsed, she would be safe, until Hyuga Tenfu's voice startled her awake. Damn it, who attacked me? Uzuki Injutsu crawled out of the sea, soaking wet, blood streaming from his nose. Because his feet were covered in chakra, he stood on the surface of the sea as if on solid ground. The one who's going to kill you, Jojuan, focused solely on taking the life of the Black Zetsu within him, didn't waste any words and delivered another whip kick imbued with a super heavy rock technique, slamming it towards his head. Uzuki Injutsu immediately used the oil transformation technique, covering his feet in oil and retreating at near instantaneous speed. Boom! Jojuan slammed his foot into the seawater, sending up a wave dozens of meters high. The sheer power of the impact made Uzuki Injutsu's eyelids twitch violently. Earth release? A ninja from the land of Earth, he wondered, his gaze suddenly turning cold and stern. I don't care which country you're from, anyone who opposes me will die. Water release, water cannon air bullet, quickly completing the hand seals. Uzuki Injutsu formed a pistol shape with his hands and fired dozens of bullet-shaped liquids at Jojuan. The second Mizukage's ninjutsu from the original story, Jojuan recognized the technique, knowing the liquid's powerful penetrating force, and figured Uzuki Injutsu was probably the second Mizukage's father or a clan elder. Whoosh whoosh, Jojuan used the water release, body flicker technique, dodging the air bullets while rapidly closing in on Uzuki Injutsu, ready for close combat. Trying to outrun me in the sea? You're joking, Uzuki Injutsu sneered, retreating rapidly once more, easily widening the distance between himself and Jojuan. Jojuan frowned upon seeing this. Fighting on the sea surface did indeed give Uzuki Injutsu a unique advantage. His water-style speed was no slower than the 5 elements tempering technique, while Jojuan had to distract himself from dodging his attacks. Water-style, water ball technique. Seeing that his empty-handed water ball technique was no longer a threat, Uzuki Injutsu switched to another ninjutsu. As he formed hand seals, hundreds of bubbles rose from the sea surface, gathering and drifting towards Jojuan. Jojuan countered without hesitation, conjuring a giant Rinnegan in his palm and blasting away all the approaching bubbles one by one. Boom 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 boom. The moment the bubbles made contact with a giant Rasengan, they exploded violently, the entire sea surface boiling and creating waves nearly 100 meters high. After a long while, the explosion subsided, and seawater sparsely fell from the sky, soaking both Jojuan and Hazuki Injetsu. This guy's got some skills, Hazuki Injetsu thought gravely, realizing the mysterious masked man before him was a powerhouse of equal strength. Find an opportunity to finish him off in one blow, a voice suddenly echoed in his mind. Hazuki Injetsu paused, then narrowed his eyes slightly. Ninja art, shadow clone technique. At that moment, Jojuan formed hand seals, creating over a dozen shadow clones that surrounded Hazuki Injetsu from all directions. You think you can get close to me with this method? Hazuki Injetsu scoffed, shouting and forming the tiger hand seal, water release, water fishing decapitation technique. Whoosh, hundreds upon hundreds of tons of seawater surged skyward, condensing into countless sharp water lines that pushed out in all directions. This was a large-scale area of effect ninjutsu, its range encompassing the entire sea surface, making it impossible to dodge. Each shadow clone exploded the moment it touched the waterline. On the land battlefield, under the heavy protection of his clansmen, Hyuga Tenfu is observing the battle in the distant sea using his Byakugan. Father, will the masked man be a match for Hazuki Injetsu? Hyuga Rika asked worriedly, unable to remain calm as she watched the churning waters. Hazuki Injetsu is proficient in water release. He has the advantage of terrain and timing in the sea. Even at my peak, I would be at his mercy, Hyuga Tenfu said slowly, veins bulging on his forehead, a testament to the maximum power of his Byakugan. But the masked man's identity is very mysterious. We don't know what tricks he has up his sleeve, and it's still uncertain who will win this final battle. At this point, Hyuga Tenfu suddenly frowned. What exactly does the masked man want from us? He's helped us time and time again. Even risking a life-or-death battle with Hazuki Injetsu, after experiencing Shimura Sando's betrayal, Hyuga Tenfu had become wary. He believed that there was no such thing as unconditional kindness. Even allies could betray each other for profit, let alone a complete stranger like the masked man. The other party must have some ulterior motive. Hyuga Rika understood the implication in her father's words. After thinking for a moment, a blush inappropriately crept onto her pretty face. Chapter 91 Settling Things with Black Zetsu. She wasn't blushing for no reason. She remembered that a month and a half ago, the masked man had said he wanted her to marry him. Could it be that the masked man isn't helping Hyuga, but helping me? Hyuga Rika couldn't help but let her imagination run wild. But I've only met him once. Why would he do so much for me? It's impossible that he fell in love with me at first sight like he did with Uzumaki Shōsō, right? This thought caused a mix of emotions in the girl, a feeling she couldn't quite define, happy or embarrassed. Hyuga Tenfu, unaware of his daughter's complex thoughts, was currently focused on the masked man navigating the raging waves, seemingly trying to see through the veil to his true face. Wind release, Rasenshuriken, Shulao unleashed a powerful attack, first shattering all the incoming water jets, then slamming them into the depths of the sea. Boom, as if tens of thousands of explosive tags had detonated simultaneously on the seabed, the ocean instantly boiled and raged, creating a massive wave nearly 100 meters high. Hazuki Injetsu rose and fell with the giant waves, wave after wave engulfing him. His eyes darted back and forth warily, trying to find his opponent. Down there, a voice within him warned. Without hesitation, Hazuki Injetsu leaped to his feet. The next moment, Jojuan, wielding the Chidori sharp spear, pierced the spot where he had been standing, just centimeters from Hazuki Injetsu's chest. That was close. Hazuki Injetsu broke out in a cold sweat. At such close range, he could even feel the tingling pain at the spear tip. Grow, Jojuan muttered, increasing his chakra output. The Chidori sharp spear in his hand suddenly grew a meter, piercing Hazuki Injetsu through the heart. What? Hazuki Injetsu's eyes widened in disbelief, blood dripping from the spear shaft into the seawater. In truth, if he had been prepared, he could have used his water transformation technique to become immune to most attacks, making him difficult for ordinary people to harm. However, Jojuan knew the weakness of the water transformation technique and specifically used lightning release to counter it. Water release, great waterfall explosion. Hazuki Injetsu endured the numbness in his body, opened his mouth, and spat out a torrent of water, forcibly forcing Jojuan back. As Jojuan retreated, The Chidori's spear piercing Hazuki Injetsu's chest lost its chakra supply and quickly dissipated. I'm afraid I'm no match for him. He even knows to use lightning release against me. Hazuki Injetsu clutched his chest, gritting his teeth and whispering. Then let's go. The voice inside him sighed helplessly. There was no other way. Hazuki Injetsu turned to flee without further ado. Where do you think you're going? Jojuan sneered, clapping his hands together. 4 purple flame formation. 4 shadow clones emerged from the sea from the east, south, west, and north, centered on Hazuki Injetsu. They formed different hand seals, instantly creating 4 interconnected purple light screens that pierced the heavens and earth, enveloping Hazuki Injetsu within them. Trying to trap me with a barrier? Impossible. Hazuki Injetsu saw through Jojuan's intentions. His escape unabated. Water release. Great shark bullet technique. A shark formed entirely of water leaped from the sea behind him, crashing into the purple light screen with tremendous force. Bang! The light screen trembled slightly. Not only surviving the impact but also evaporating and burning the shark, filling the barrier with steam. Don't waste your energy. Ordinary ninjutsu can't break the 4 purple flame formation. Jojuan hovered in the air, expressionless, looking down at Hazuki Injetsu. Hazuki Injetsu's expression was ashen, as if he'd swallowed a fly. He glanced around and suddenly realized the barrier only covered about 400 or 500 square meters. So that means even you can't get out for now? He asked, his eyes gleaming. Jojuan didn't answer. Ha ha ha! Hazuki Injetsu suddenly threw his head back and laughed wildly. You're so clever, locking us both in this barrier, but you're courting death? Jojuan sensed something was wrong, but Hazuki Injetsu didn't give him time to react. With the fastest speed he could muster, he formed hand seals. Water release. Infinite explosion technique of water balloons. He practically spat out the last 6 words through clenched teeth. As soon as he finished speaking, thousands upon thousands of bubbles rose from the sea surface, densely packed and overwhelming, swarming towards Jojuan. In such a confined space, the aftershocks of the explosions alone could kill you, Hazuki Injetsu said menacingly, manipulating the bubbles to explode within a meter of Jojuan. Summoning technique. A series of earth-shattering explosions echoed across the sea. The 4 purple flame array only lasted a dozen seconds before being destroyed by the shockwaves. The bombardment lasted a full 5 minutes before finally ceasing. Looking around, the world was shrouded in a white mist. The explosions had been terrifying, evaporating tens of thousands of tons of seawater and even causing the sea level to drop. Did he die? Hazuki Injetsu gasped, looking towards the spot where Jojuan had been standing before the explosions. His gaze pierced through the layers of white mist, revealing a massive, turtle shell-like black shadow. What? His pupils constricted sharply, and his body trembled uncontrollably. Jojuan pushed his way out of the protection of the 5 Rashomon gates, completely unharmed. Dark, jet-black eyeshadow appeared around his eyes, a characteristic of entering Sage mode. He admitted that Hazuki Injetsu's infinite explosion technique was indeed incredibly powerful, but it was far from enough to blast through the Rashomon gates. Sage Art, Mist Concealment Technique. Upon entering Sage mode, Jojuan's first action was to create a dense fog using Sage Chakra. Unlike water vapor, this fog could block all sight and perception. Next, he needed to settle things with Black Zetsu. Jojuan knew many Hyuga clan members were watching him with their Byakugan. He couldn't let anyone see him severing ties with Black Zetsu. It's all over. Give up the struggle, Jojuan said calmly, conjuring a Sage Art, Wind Release, Rasenshuriken and slowly walking towards Hazuki Injetsu. Hazuki Injetsu stared warily at the shuriken forming in his hand, sensing a deadly threat. Just as he was about to flee for his life, a dark shadow suddenly shot out from above him, piercing Jojuan's body with lightning speed. Huh? Jojuan froze instantly, his steps halting. He couldn't control his body. Damn it. No matter your background, I'm going to kill you completely today. Black Zetsu's head burst from Jojuan's chest, roaring through gritted teeth as it struggled for control of his body, forcibly stopping the shuriken that was halfway forming in his hand. Jojuan's lips twitched, as if he wanted to say something, but he couldn't speak because he had lost control of his body. P.S. Is anyone still reading this book? If so, please type 1. Chapter 92 Sealing Black Zetsu. Hazuki Injetsu, what are you waiting for? Quickly use the steam blast to kill him. Black Zetsu turned and shouted to Hazuki Injetsu, he's already under my control and can't move. Upon hearing this, Uzuki Ingetsu immediately mustered his courage and abandoned his thought of running away. If I kill him, what about you? He hesitated. After all, Black Zetsu had promised him many benefits in order to get him to lead his people to conquer the Land of Fire. If he killed Black Zetsu as well, all those benefits would become empty promises. Don't worry, you can't kill me, Black Zetsu said, reassuring him. Okay, Uzuki Ingetsu nodded, his last bit of concern dispelled. He then used the oil and water in his body to create a shadow clone in the shape of a child and rushed towards the immobilized Jojuan, attempting to detonate the clone and blast him to pieces. However, when the clone approached within 10 meters of Jojuan, a sudden change occurred. Jojuan's clothes suddenly tore open at his abdomen, and a pitch-black bagua pattern appeared on his stomach. You really dare to possess me, Black Zetsu? Jojuan finally managed to utter these words with great difficulty. The bagua pattern on his belly spun rapidly, and an irresistible suction force swept outwards. What? A sealing technique? You actually planted a sealing technique on me, Black Zetsu screamed in disbelief, his voice filled with fear. He wouldn't be afraid of ordinary sealing techniques, but this was a bagua seal, even more powerful than the four-symbol seal, enough to threaten him. Not good. Seeing Black Zetsu's body contorted and forcibly sucked into the bagua pattern, Uzuki Ingetsu knew that the situation was hopeless. He couldn't wait for his clone to get close to Jojuan and decisively detonated it in advance. Boom! The clone exploded violently, and a burst of scorching heat erupted from it. Jojuan was blown away by the steam from the explosion, and his body was covered with burns of varying degrees. However, after entering Sage Mode, his self-healing ability was extremely strong, and his injuries healed quickly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Uzuki Ingetsu didn't even consider the damage the explosive power would cause to his opponent. After detonating his clone, his first action was to turn and flee. Even so, he was too slow. Jojuan gritted his teeth and shouted, "Diamond sealing technique!" Dozens of diamond chains surged forth from his body, catching up with Uzuki Ingetsu in the blink of an eye and binding him tightly like a rice dumpling. It's worth noting that each chain possessed a sealing technique effect, preventing Uzuki Ingetsu from using water manipulation to evade, and being bound was equivalent to being completely sealed. If Uzuki Ingetsu were at his peak, the diamond sealing technique alone might not have been enough to subdue him, but his previous fierce battle with Jojuan had depleted his chakra to almost nothing, leaving him powerless to resist. Uzumaki clan member, you're a Uzumaki clan member. Although Uzuki Ingetsu belonged to the Land of Water, he had long admired the Uzumaki clan's diamond sealing technique, and thus recognized Jojuan's origins immediately based on his technique. You know too much? Jojuan's eyes flashed with cold light. He yanked hard on the Vajra chains, instantly snapping Uzuki Ingetsu into several pieces, blood gushing out. A clan leader had perished in a foreign land. Now I can finally focus on dealing with Black Zetsu. Jojuan let out a long sigh and retracted the Vajra chains into his body. To deal with the Black Zetsu, he had been monitoring the Hyuga clan for almost half a year, naturally making ample preparations. He knew that Black Zetsu had the ability to possess and control others. In the original story, Madara was captured in this way. Therefore, to prevent following Madara's path, Jojuan had planted the 8-trigram seal within himself beforehand. If Black Zetsu truly possessed him, he would only need to seize control of the body for a moment to activate the sealing technique using chakra. Black Zetsu thought his possession ability was a powerful weapon, but little did he know that for Jojuan, it was merely walking into a trap. As expected of the embodiment of Kaguya's will, even the 8-trigram seal can't restrain you. Jojuan suddenly frowned, sensing that Black Zetsu was struggling desperately in the sealed space, making his stomach ache. In the original story, the 4-symbol seal alone was enough to seal a tailed beast, yet the 8-trigram seal, an enhanced version of the 4-symbol seal, couldn't suppress Black Zetsu. One could imagine how troublesome he was. Should I use the super-enhanced 64 combination seal? Jojuan hesitated. Even with his sealing techniques, setting up the 64 combination seal wouldn't be easy, and besides, he didn't want to seal Black Zetsu inside him. Being a tailed beast Jinchuriki was fine, but Black Zetsu as a Jinchuriki was out of the question. Black Zetsu was more terrifying than a time bomb. Keeping him inside would mean he might rip out his heart at any moment. Let's stick to the original plan. Jojuan made his final decision, his expression heavy, and his hands formed the forbidden hand seals of the Uzumaki clan. As the final seal was completed, a chilling wind swept through the air, and the blue-faced, fanged Grim Reaper appeared behind him. Jojuan glanced back at the Grim Reaper, not caring whether he understood human language or not, and politely said, "Senior Grim Reaper, please wait 2 minutes." The Grim Reaper looked down at him expressionlessly. Jojuan took a deep breath, and 5 Vajra chains shot into the sealed space, binding Black Zetsu's limbs and pulling him out in a large position. "Grim Reaper, you actually want to use the Reaper Death Seal against me? You're insane. What grudge do you hold against me?" Black Zetsu is quite unruly when he was first pulled out, but when he saw the Grim Reaper behind Jojuan, he was instantly terrified. As an old-timer in the ninja world, Black Zetsu knew that the Reaper Death Seal was a suicidal technique. The souls of both the caster and the victim would be devoured by the Grim Reaper and eternally fight and hate within the Grim Reaper's belly, never to be reborn. Could it be that I killed this kid's entire family decades ago, which is why he's resorting to such ruthless means to deal with me? Black Zetsu couldn't help but have this thought pop into his head. Otherwise, he really couldn't understand why the other party would be willing to perish with him. After thinking it over, "I still think it's better to have Senior Death seal you," Jojuan said calmly. "Even if you seal me, you will still die." Black Zetsu tried his best to persuade him to change his mind. "My safety is none of your concern." Jojuan appeared very calm. But the death behind him was not calm at all. His eyes glowed green as he stared intently at Black Zetsu, his drool almost dripping to the ground. Clearly, the temptation Black Zetsu offered him was not comparable to that of an ordinary soul. Then Jojuan officially activated the spell. The Death's arm emerged from his chest, grabbed Black Zetsu, and, ignoring the fact that Black Zetsu didn't devour souls, directly dragged him and Jojuan's soul away, stuffed them into his mouth, and swallowed them in large gulps. The moment his soul was dragged away, Jojuan's body trembled. He was about to collapse and die, but suddenly his right eye flashed brightly, and his soul returned to his body. Chapter 93, The Battle Ends. Izanagi, the ultimate forbidden technique of the Uchiha clan, a flawless eye technique that can transform all factors detrimental to the user into a dream within a short period, making the user invincible. Jojuan used this eye technique to reverse the reality of his soul being devoured by the Grim Reaper. He was a man who valued his life highly. He would never sacrifice himself to seal Black Zetsu. No matter what he did, he always had a backup plan. The Grim Reaper, feeling he hadn't devoured another soul, gazed at Jojuan with a chilling look. Jojuan dodged back dozens of meters, warily saying, "Senior Grim Reaper, the Reaper Death Seal is over. You should leave." He didn't know if the Grim Reaper would feel fooled and become enraged. If that happened, he wouldn't mind giving the Grim Reaper a sage art, wind release, Risen Shuriken. The Grim Reaper stared at Jojuan for a moment, then suddenly sighed, his body slowly fading away. Sensing the Grim Reaper's complete departure, Jojuan secretly breathed a sigh of relief, feeling that everything had finally settled down. The Reaper Death Seal is undoubtedly the safest way for him to seal Black Zetsu at present. Although he doesn't know the origin of the Shinigami, no matter how powerful Black Zetsu is, he can't possibly tear out the Shinigami's heart. The Reaper Death Seal is only used by the high-ranking elders of the Uzumaki clan. Whether it's sealing an enemy or releasing the soul swallowed by the Shinigami, it comes at the cost of life. And others don't have the 3-tomo Sharingan, so I don't need to worry about anyone helping Black Zetsu break the seal, Jojuan silently calculated. After this battle, he realized the importance of Izanagi even more. If Izanagi is used in combination with other forbidden techniques, it will have unimaginable effects, such as the Kaguya clan's early Fern Dance, the Uzumaki clan's Reaper Death Seal, and the Ryan Rebirth technique. Perhaps I can start developing the 8 gates. As long as I have enough Sharingan, I can kick as many times as I want to kick the final blow. On a large ship, Shimura Sando, controlled by Kabatanara, is fighting desperately with Elder Kaguya. Because the lesser god could only temporarily alter the will of others, Jojuan's initial order to Shimura Sando was to kill the Kaguya clan members at all costs, using a life-for-life fighting style, and not to worry about his own safety. What's going on? This bastard seems to be trying to take me down with him. The Kaguya elder's initial raging anger had subsided, and she became increasingly alarmed as she fought Shimura Sando. Her opponent was completely undefended, attacking with all his might, trading wounds for wounds, clearly intending to drag her down with him. Even in the previous battle against the Uzumaki clan, the Kaguya elder had never fought so desperately. No wonder he's a spy within a spy, his ruthlessness alone is unmatched by ordinary people, the Kaguya elder thought to herself. Suddenly, caught off guard, she and Shimura Sando exchanged powerful attacks, both flying backward, wounded. Shimura Sando's cold expression flickered, and he regained his self-awareness. "Ouch, that hurts," he gasped, instinctively looking down to see his empty left arm and the blood-soaked wounds on his body. "What happened? Who hurt me like this?" Shimura Sando was stunned, his head buzzing. Completely unable to remember what had happened after his will was altered. "Shimura Sando, you'll die a horrible death." At that moment, Kaguya, not far away, cursed him angrily. "I will kill you and slaughter your entire Shimura clan." Shimura Sando was in unprecedented confusion, not understanding what Kaguya meant. "Aren't we allies? Kill. Kill every last member of the Shimura clan, leave no one alive." Kaguya roared like a madman, repeatedly giving orders to the clansmen on the field. Shimura Sando looked back and saw the Kaguya clansmen fighting fiercely with his own, with casualties every second. Because his own clansmen did not have a bloodline limit, their casualty ratio was far greater than that of the Kaguya clansmen. Boom! A thunderclap exploded in his mind. Even if Shimura Sando was still dazed, he finally realized what was happening. He stared at Kaguya in disbelief. "You bastard, you actually betrayed me." Kaguya was stunned for a moment, then nearly fainted from anger, vomiting a mouthful of blood. "What a shameless and filthy person. You betrayed me, yet you have the nerve to falsely accuse me and turn the tables. If I weren't blind, would I have allied myself with someone like you?" Shimura Sando was filled with grief and indignation, every word dripping with rage. "You, Kaguya, you've done the dirty work and then discarded me. I gave so much, and all I get is 40% of the Hyuga clan's wealth and 50 Byakugan. Is that too much?" "Not at all." "Shut up." Kaguya's expression was even more grief-stricken than his, vomiting blood repeatedly. "Why should I shut up? You, Kaguya, dare to betray your allies, yet you dare not let anyone talk about it?" Shimura Sando argued vehemently. "You betray even your allies. What other despicable things wouldn't you do? Kaguya, don't be so smug. We, the Shimura clan, will haunt you even in death." "Damn it!" Kaguya gritted her teeth, her blood boiling. "If I don't kill you with my own hands, may I never be reincarnated." "Elder, step aside." The Kaguya elder understood what she intended, sighed, and didn't stop her, flying off the ship. "Let's die together." Kaguya had completely gone mad, driven insane by rage, burning her last breath, corpse bone pulse, early fern dance, whoosh whoosh whoosh, countless bone spurs burst forth from her body, and in less than an instant, the entire ship was engulfed in bone spurs. Poor Shimura Sando, his body riddled with bone spurs, died believing Kaguya had betrayed him, filled with resentment. The Kaguya elder glanced deeply at the ship covered in bone spikes, his heart heavy with sorrow. He turned to his clansmen and ordered, "Shimura Sando has been killed. The entire army retreats. Do not linger." The Kaguya clan had suffered extremely heavy losses in this battle and was no longer able to contend with the Hyuga and Shimura forces. Retreat was the only option. "What? The clan leader is dead." The Shimura clansmen couldn't accept it, especially the Shimura elder, whose eyes widened like saucers. The clan leader hadn't even explained what double agent meant. How could he be dead? He released his chakra and, as expected, couldn't sense Shimura Sando's presence. His heart sank. "Clan leader, you should at least explain what double agent meant and why we betrayed the Kaguya clan," the Shimura elder cried, tears welling in his eyes. The secret of infernal affairs was destined to haunt him for the rest of his life. Even when Elder Shimura was too old to move and was placed in his coffin, he would use his last breath to ask his clansmen, "Have you found out what infernal affairs is? Everyone retreat. Go now." Thank you to 960,213 for the 100 coin reward. Thank you, boss. Chapter 94 The Defeat of the Three Clans. Elder Shimura, left with no other choice, issued the same order as Elder Kaguya. Their losses tonight were even greater than Kaguya's. If they didn't leave soon, the crisis of their clan's extinction would be imminent. The crucial point was that they were currently bewildered on the battlefield, unable to distinguish friend from foe. Only a fool would fight such a war. "Elder, the Kaguya and Shimura clans have both retreated. What do we do?" A member of the Hazuki clan, noticing the movements of the two clans, asked their elder. Elder Hazuki was also bewildered. He never expected that the planned three-clan attack on the Hyuga would turn into a one-on-one duel between the Hazuki and Hyuga clans. It had to be said that the ninja clans of the Land of Fire were truly unpredictable and incomprehensible. Let's keep fighting, he gritted his teeth. Our clan leader is engaged in a decisive battle with the Hyuga reinforcements at sea. I believe he'll return soon with his kill. Hearing this, the crowd calmed down considerably. They had complete faith in Hazuki and Zetsu. The sea was their main battlefield. Even if that mysterious masked man was a clan leader level powerhouse, he couldn't possibly defeat their clan leader in the sea. Father, Kaguya and Shimura clans have retreated, Hyuga Rika exclaimed excitedly, a sense of relief at having escaped a desperate situation. Hyuga Tenfu didn't react, his eyes still fixed on the distant sea. For the past 5 minutes, the sea had been shrouded in a strange, thick fog, which Shiv and his Byakugan couldn't penetrate. If the masked man could defeat Hazuki and Zetsu, that would be even better, Hyuga Rika chattered on, when Hyuga Tenfu's gaze suddenly sharpened as he saw a figure emerge from the fog. The masked man won, he let out a heavy sigh, relieved of his burden. After sealing Black Zetsu, Jojuan didn't linger. He immediately returned to land, carrying Hazuki Injetsu's head. Hazuki Injetsu has been killed by me. Do you clansmen still intend to resist? Jojuan hovered in the air, gathering chakra as he shouted, his voice echoing across the battlefield. What? The clan leader is dead. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Even if the clan leader couldn't win, he should be able to escape, right? The Hazuki clan's morale instantly collapsed. Their first reaction was disbelief, but when they saw the head in Jojuan's hand, they had no choice but to believe it. He actually killed the clan leader, the Hazuki elder muttered to himself, his face filled with horror. The image of Jojuan holding the head and hovering in the air was visually shocking to everyone. The Hazuki clan leader is dead. We've got this in the bag. Charge. In stark contrast to the Hazuki clan's reaction, the Hyuga clan's morale soared. The Hazuki clan, already outmatched, were now utterly routed. This is bad. There's no chance of winning this battle. Elder Hazuki quickly regained his senses. Without the clan leader, he was the supreme leader of the clan. Go. Back to the Land of Water, he gritted his teeth and decisively gave the order. Everyone had been waiting for these words, and they rushed into the sea one after another. These bastards, Hyuga Tennin's brows twitched wildly. He was already bloodthirsty. Under normal circumstances, he would definitely lead his clansmen to pursue their victory, at least to tear a piece of flesh from their enemies. But at this moment, he was concerned about his father's safety and couldn't care less about chasing the enemy. He rushed towards the Hyuga Tendo residence. Medical ninjas. Where are the medical ninjas? 5 medical ninjas quickly emerged from the crowd. However, after examining Hyuga Tenfu's injuries, their expressions turned grim, and they stammered, "Our clan leader has suffered a fatal wound. There's no way to save him. How can this be?" Hyuga Tenfu refused to accept it. "It must be because your skills are insufficient. No matter what method you use, you must heal my father." Hyuga Tenfu coughed up blood incessantly, trying to speak several times, but unable to utter a word. "Let me try. I am also proficient in medical ninjutsu." At this moment, a voice rang out. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice, and when they saw who it was, their expressions subtly changed, and they automatically made way for him. "Then I'll have to trouble the masked man." Hyuga Tenfu grasped at a straw, gratefully pleading with Jojuan. Although he had never met the masked man before, at this moment he trusted him implicitly. After all, he had helped his clan kill the Hazuki clan leader. Jojuan walked up to Hyuga Tenfu, still in sage mode, his hand emitting a hazy glow as it landed on Tenfu's chest. "There's really no way to save him," Jojuan thought to himself, quickly assessing Tenfu's injuries. Frankly, Tenfu was barely clinging to life. Even a reverse summoning to the Shikatsu forest wouldn't revive him unless a large amount of Oshirama cells were used to rebuild his body and organs. "How is my father?" Tenfu asked anxiously. Jojuan didn't answer, instead channeling a wisp of sage chakra into Tenfu's body. The sage chakra's effects were immediate. Tenfu's complexion quickly regained its color, and he stopped coughing up blood. "Father, clan chief," the crowd was overjoyed, believing the masked man could truly bring someone back to life. Jojuan waved his hand, signaling them to be quiet. "Clan Chief Shianfu, please speak quickly if you have anything to say." Shianfu understood his unspoken meaning and said gratefully, "Thank you for saving me." Jojuan remained silent. He then looked at his tearful children beside him. "Shinran, after my death, the position of clan chief will be yours. You must be strong from now on. Listen to the elder's advice when facing problems, and never make the same mistake I did. Zhou watched quietly as Xianfu gave his final instructions, from a purely objective perspective. After instructing his son, he then instructed the elders, essentially hoping they would assist Shinran in restoring the glory of the Hyuga clan. The elders naturally nodded in agreement. Rika, I know you've always loved Zhou. Perhaps I made a mistake by not insisting on marrying you off to him before. These were Xianfu's words to his daughter. Zhou, standing nearby, was immediately a little unsettled, never expecting to witness gossip related to himself. So, the person Hyuga Rika said she already had someone she liked was me. He seemed lost in thought, his feelings unreadable. In a few days, let the heavenly ninja go to Uzushio village to arrange another marriage for you. Hyuga Rika was heartbroken, crying uncontrollably. Finally, Hyuga Tenfu's gaze settled on Zhou, and he slowly said, you have helped the Hyuga clan several times, which is a great kindness to our clan. Whatever your needs regarding wealth, our clan is willing to fulfill them. Still suspicious of me? Zhou sighed inwardly, then said seriously, Clan Chief Tenfu misunderstands. I have no needs. The reason I acted tonight was simply because I couldn't stand foreign ninjas invading the land of fire. Having said that, he didn't care whether the other believed him or not, and leaped into the air, speeding away towards the horizon. Hyuga Tenfu's expression visibly relaxed, then he closed his eyes and passed away peacefully. Chapter 95 The Reincarnation appears. Clan Chief, Zhou, not flying far, heard the mournful cries of the Hyuga clan members in the distance using his wind release, hearing technique. This is the best possible outcome, he murmured. Without his help tonight, the Hyuga clan would have suffered an unprecedented blow, perhaps even annihilation. Kobetsuka played a crucial role in this. That night, the clan sent Hyuga Tenfu's body and supplies from the 10 large ships back to their ancestral home. Strictly speaking, they had won a great victory that night. Although their clan chief had sacrificed himself, the other 3 clans had also lost their chiefs and had seized a large amount of supplies. The next day, Hyuga Tenfu held a grand funeral for his father. The entire clan wore mourning clothes and observed a moment of silence. Many ninja clans sent envoys to offer condolences, including the Uzumaki clan. Hyuga Tenfu was buried on the same day the funeral ended. In the Warring States period, the custom was to bury the dead immediately for peace. There was no concept of keeping vigil. After all, death was a common occurrence in that era. Late on the night of Hyuga Tenfu's burial, all was silent, the moon casting a hazy glow. Zhou, disguised as Black Zetsu, infiltrated the Hyuga clan's territory, moving swiftly through the soil. Using his demon eyes to pinpoint the location, he quickly located a brand new grave. He carved out a small space underground, carefully pried open the coffin, and inside lay Hyuga Tenfu himself. I apologize to Clan Chief Tenfu, I have offended you greatly, Zhou murmured, raising his hand to his face. The wisp of sage chakra he had injected into Hyuga Tenfu the previous night was primarily to maintain the activity of his eyes. I helped your Hyuga clan so much, you don't mind taking some insignificant reward, do you? Besides, once a person dies, their life is over, you won't need them anymore. These eyes will be of greater use to me, soon. Zhou obtained what he wanted. He closed the coffin lid, restored the scene to its original state, erased all traces and clues, and turned to speed towards the laboratory. Half an hour later, in the dimly lit, damp laboratory. I hope this time it will succeed, God help me, Zhou silently prayed, looking at the beautiful, gel-like Byakugan in the test tube. Up to now, that Byakugan had fused the power of 285 Byakugan, but still showed no signs of transforming into the Tenseigan. Zhou had only taken Hyuga Tenfu's eyes as a last resort, hoping that as the clan leader, Hyuga Tenfu's bloodline purity would be higher, making one eye equivalent to 100 ordinary Byakugan. Just like in the original story, Tonari stole Hyuga Hanabi's eyes to obtain the Tenseigan, instead of targeting a member of the branch family. If this still didn't work, he didn't know what to do. Should he really go to the moon to find an opportunity? A moment later, his prayers ended. Zhou immersed Hyuga Tenfu's eyes in the solution and began the experimental steps methodically. He first extracted the power from Hyuga Tenfu's left eye and carefully fused it into another eye that had gathered the essence of over 200 Byakugan. An hour later, as the last trace of pupil power merged, The originally flawless white eyes suddenly emitted a faint blue light. Blue light, the blue form of the Tenseigan. Jojuan's spirits lifted instantly, unable to contain his excitement. He knew very well that Tonari's Tenseigan in the original story was blue. Could it really be true? He took a deep breath, forcibly suppressing his inner excitement. Let's merge the right eye too. The closer they got to success, the less room there was for error. He concentrated all his energy on dissolving the pupil power of his right eye. Another hour passed. Both of Hyuga Tenfu's eyes had been successfully merged, and a hazy blue light filled the entire laboratory. So beautiful, Jojuan murmured in admiration. The Byakugan presented before him could no longer be called the Byakugan, it should be called the blue eye because the blue light it emitted was extremely pure, without any impurities, like a masterpiece of art. Did I succeed? He wasn't sure if this blue eye was the Tenseigan. After all, the blue light it emitted was very strong, quite different from what Jojuan had imagined the Tenseigan to be. Whether I succeeded or not, I'll know once I try. The next moment, he stopped hesitating, decisively removed the demon eye from his right eye, and then put the blue eye into its socket, connecting it to his optic nerve. It's a little hot. He covered his eyelids, quietly adjusting to the burning sensation in his eye socket for a moment, and then slowly opened it. His field of vision was clearer than ever before, even the smallest particles of soil on the ground were clearly visible. The first change, my eyesight has improved. Next I'll try my eye technique. Jojuan channeled his chakra into his right eye, and the pupil of his right eye suddenly contracted sharply, instantly drawing a vast and powerful energy into his body from the outside world. What's going on? Jojuan quickly checked the changes on his body. At this moment, he was enveloped in a dense green light, which condensed into a cloak draped over his shoulders. At the same time, 9 green truth-seeking balls emerged from his chest one after another, floating around his body. The Tenseigan chakra pattern of Tonari. Jojuan's shock lasted only a moment before he realized that his current appearance was very similar to Tonari's Tenseigan chakra pattern. It seems I succeeded. What I fused with is indeed the Tenseigan. Even the chakra pattern was exactly the same. At this point, there was no longer any suspense. That blue eye was the genuine Tenseigan. At this moment, Jojuan's emotions calmed down. He raised his hand and touched the cloak draped over his shoulders, feeling that its texture was very similar to ice silk. Similar to the nature of Susanoo, formed from chakra, he guessed, then conjured a Rinnegan and slammed it against the cloak, wanting to test its defensive capabilities. The test result did not disappoint Jojuan. After the Rinnegan touched the cloak, the chakra contained within was instantly absorbed. It can grant immunity to ninjutsu attacks. If the chakra amount of the ninjutsu exceeds the absorption limit, it still won't grant immunity. After several tests, Jojuan was confident. If he had worn this chakra cloak last night, even if he stood still and let Hazuki Injutsu bombard him with his steam explosion, he probably wouldn't even have been able to tear off the hem of his clothes. Let's test my current strength. He used the 5 elements escape technique to escape to the ground. The laboratory space was too cramped, hindering his performance. In chakra mode, his escape speed was 40% faster than usual. And he arrived at the ground at lightning speed. It was just dawn, and sunlight shone throughout the mountains and forests. Following the strange intuition in his heart, Jojuan released his eye power, raised his hand, and aimed it at the mountains and forests in front of him. Spicy heavenly forest, boom, a powerful repulsive force erupted from his palm, instantly leveling the mountains and forests in front of him. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96: The Power of the Reincarnation Eye. As expected, the Tenseigan can also manipulate gravity. Jojuan nodded slightly, quite satisfied with the power of Shinra Tensei. He had a premonition that if he entered Sage mode again, the Shinra Tensei he unleashed would be even stronger. He then continued to release the power of his Tenseigan, but this time he manipulated attraction instead of repulsion. Universal pull. A large number of broken branches and wood fragments were attracted by gravity and flew into the sky, intertwining and merging to form the ugly character's masked hero. Jojuan was a little embarrassed by this. He was still not very skilled at manipulating gravity and could not do it with ease, so the characters he wrote were awkward. As he withdrew the gravity, the trees all fell to the ground with a crash. These are the legendary truth-seeking balls. They look quite unique. Jojuan became interested in the 9 truth-seeking balls floating beside him. A strange connection was established between them, as if they were extensions of his body. He could sense high-density chakra of the 7 attributes of yin and yang and the 5 elements from them. Like Saratobi Sasuke, I was born with all 5 chakra natures, but I've never been able to reach the threshold of yin-yang release. Now, with the help of the Tenseigan, I've created truth-seeking balls. Perhaps I can cultivate yin-yang release through the yin-yang nature contained within them. Thinking this, Jojuan reached out and picked up a truth-seeking ball. He found that although it was round, it was very soft, like dough that could be kneaded at will. He flattened it, stretched it, and played with it for a while, then suddenly wanted to test its power. However, looking at his surroundings, he hesitated. The original work clearly states that the energy of truth-seeking balls is enormous, even surpassing the power of bloodline limits. It can destroy a forest in an instant and prevent the reanimated body from recovering. Only those with the power of the 6 paths can touch truth-seeking balls without being harmed. After much deliberation, Jojuan soared into the sky and flew westward. It wasn't advisable to test truth-seeking balls within the land of fire. It would cause a great disturbance. Even if he didn't accidentally injure anyone, damaging the flowers and plants wouldn't be good. The desert is more suitable. I can act freely there. With the aid of chakra mode, Jojuan's speed increased significantly. After flying at full speed for over an hour, he finally arrived at the vast sea of sand bordering the land of fire and the land of wind. It's worth mentioning that he manipulated his sage cloak along the way, causing it to split into veil to cover his face. With his face veiled by the power of yin and yang and the 5 elements, even the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan couldn't see through it to reveal his true appearance. Here, I don't need to worry about anything, Jojuan muttered to himself, looking at the endless desert below, and launched a truth-seeking ball towards the yellow sand. Boom! Despite its small size, only the size of a fist, the truth-seeking ball's destructive power was not to be underestimated. It exploded in the yellow sand, creating a crater nearly 100 meters in diameter, sending sand and dust billowing into the sky. Jojuan manipulated gravity to suppress the sandstorm, preventing himself from choking. He gestured to indicate the size of the crater. Muttering, "This feels just right for burying a tailed beast." Roar! At that moment, an extremely violent roar came from afar, accompanied by a surge of chakra. Jojuan paused, his expression suspicious. Could it really be such a coincidence? The tailed beast appears as soon as I say it. Without hesitation, he flew towards the direction of the roar. If it were before, encountering a tailed beast would have meant nothing but retreat, but now, with a Tenseigan and greatly increased strength, he was confident he could contend with one. Soon, he witnessed an incredibly intense battle. In the vast sea of sand, hundreds of ninja from the land of wind were besieging a tanuki, raccoon dog, tens of feet tall, its body covered in cursed seal patterns. It's Shukaku, the one-tailed beast. Jojuan recognized the tanuki. Hundreds of ninjas from the land of wind surrounded Shukaku in layers, including numerous puppeteers who manipulated thousands of puppets to charge at it fearlessly, unleashing fire, poison, and stabs. A spectacular puppet show. Quick! Tie it up! A Sans ninja of clan rank used Sans release to create a massive prison to trap Shukaku, shouting orders to the ninjas beside him. The ninjas immediately threw out thousands of puppet strings, binding Shukaku like a bundle of dumplings. However, Shukaku, in pain, roared and struggled, breaking free of all the strings in the sand prison. Its massive tail swept out, instantly smashing nearly 100 puppets to pieces. It's not easy for ordinary ninjas to defeat a tailed beast, Jojuan thought to himself. He roughly understood what was going on. Tailed beasts had always been symbols of natural disasters and were sworn enemies of humans. It must be Shukaku's invasion of the Land of Wind that had provoked the Land of Wind's ninjas to attack. Although I have no connection with your Land of Wind, since I've encountered this situation, I'll take pity on you and help you, Jojuan thought. And I'll use Shukaku as practice to see how strong the Tenseigan is. With that thought, Jojuan immediately channeled natural energy, trying to enter Sage mode, but then he discovered something unexpected. He used to need half a minute to prepare to enter Sage mode, but under the Tenseigan Chakra mode, his preparation time was shortened to 5 seconds. 5 seconds, not much different from Hashirama's instantaneous attack, Sage Art, Shinra Tensei. Without saying a word, he raised his hand and unleashed his new technique on Shukaku. Boom! A terrifying repulsive force erupted, and Shukaku, caught off guard, was instantly slammed to the ground with a thud. Huh? Shukaku was completely bewildered, looking around frantically, trying to figure out who had attacked it. You all step back, I'll handle Shukaku, Jojuan said in a deep voice, ordering the sand ninja below to retreat to avoid being caught in the crossfire. The sand ninja were stunned for a moment before noticing a figure in the air. The sand ninja of the clan leader level was the first to react, replying, Shukaku's strength is terrifying, it's not something one person can handle alone. Let's join forces. As soon as he finished speaking, he led the sand ninja in a swarm towards the pinned Shukaku. Jojuan's face darkened. He thought, how can you be so ungrateful? I rarely offer to help others, and you act like I'm here to steal my life. No need to join forces. He increased the force of his attack. And the sand ninja were instantly sent flying without any resistance, even the sand ninja of the clan leader level. Despicable human, how dare you ambush me? Shukaku roared in fury, speaking in human language, its massive body resisting the force of the attack, forcibly standing up. Puff puff puff, it raised its head and used the wind release, air bullet technique, spewing out wind balls containing a large amount of chakra from its mouth to fiercely attack and maneuver. Chapter 97 Fierce Battle with Shukaku. Perfect timing, Jojuan's expression hardened as he manipulated the 9 truth-seeking balls, transforming them into shield shape to block all of Shukaku's air bullets. 9 stars alignment, he casually named his next move, flicking his wrist, and the 9 truth-seeking balls rained down on Shukaku. Boom boom boom, ow. Terrifying explosions were accompanied by Shukaku's painful roars, as a sandstorm swept across the sky, and the earth trembled violently. Such immense power, the sand ninja were all dumbfounded, stunned by the combat power Jojuan had displayed. No wonder he told us to retreat, he really had the confidence to fight Shukaku alone. Meanwhile, in a carriage several kilometers from the center of the battlefield, the daimyo of the Land of Wind was observing the battlefield through binoculars. Seeing Shukaku severely injured, he excitedly slapped his thigh. Whose subordinate is this? So brave. Beside him, his protector, Ritsuto, the first Kazakage, hesitated. Daimyo-sama, that person isn't a ninja from our country. What? The daimyo was taken aback. Ritsuto explained, to seal Shukaku, all the ninja clans of the Land of Wind sent their top warriors, but that mysterious masked man wasn't on the list. He appeared suddenly. The daimyo fell silent, realizing something was wrong. If he's not a ninja from our Land of Wind, why did he attack Shukaku? And he's so strong, he might have killed Shukaku, wouldn't he? The daimyo's tone was hesitant. There's no need to worry about that, Li Dao said confidently. Shukaku has been a natural disaster since ancient times, terrifying beyond compare. Not to mention our Land of Wind, even in the entire ninja world, no one can defeat Shukaku alone. That masked man might be able to fight against Shukaku, even injure it, but he could never kill it. Hearing this, the daimyo was much relieved. Although he wasn't a ninja, he knew very well how terrifying Shukaku was. Since ancient times, the Land of Wind had paid a heavy price in ninja lives every time it attacked Shukaku. Although I don't understand the masked man's intentions, it's best that he's willing to help us withstand the main firepower of Shukaku. We just need to observe and wait until he and Shukaku are both exhausted before we can seal Shukaku, Li Dao continued. The daimyo nodded. Yes, it's good that you understand. I really don't want any mistakes. This time, we must seal Shukaku and solve the problem once and for all. The feud between Shukaku and the Land of Wind is a long and complicated story. The Land of Wind, a country built on a desert plain, is not only barren but also constantly plagued by attacks from Shukaku. To defend their homeland, the Land of Wind, having reached its limit of tolerance, mobilized its ninja army to hunt down Shukaku. While Shukaku was fierce, it was powerless against sheer numbers and ultimately met its demise. However, this was only the beginning of the hatred between the two sides. The Land of Wind understood the tailed beasts, knowing they were chakra aggregates that could revive after a period of time, each revival occurring in an unpredictable location. Shukaku, one of the tailed beasts, was no exception. However, after each revival, it never went anywhere but returned to the Land of Wind for revenge. The Land of Wind was driven to despair by this, repeatedly cursing Shukaku as a bastard, believing it was deliberately causing trouble for their country. Otherwise, why didn't it migrate and ravage other nations? The people of the Land of Wind were unaware that Shukaku wasn't actually hostile towards the Land of Wind. Due to its chakra nature, it had an unusual fondness for sand, and deserts were its ideal habitat. The Land of Wind possessed the largest desert area in the ninja world, so Shukaku instinctively returned there after each resurrection. However, upon arriving, it discovered that not only had those people killed it last time, but they had also built a town-state in its own habitat. Did they know that the desert was Shukaku's paradise? The Land of Wind responded, "We truly didn't know. If you don't tell us, we dare not ask." Enraged, Shukaku began its revenge. To hell with the Sage of Six Paths' peaceful coexistence with humans. This was an irreconcilable feud. Thus began a centuries-long cycle of mutual destruction between Shukaku and the Land of Wind. Over the past few centuries, Shukaku had been killed dozens of times by the Land of Wind, while the Land of Wind had been ravaged by it, its people suffering immensely. This generation's daimyo of the Land of Wind, having learned from his ancestors' mistakes, finally mustered the courage to seal Shukaku away for generations, no matter the cost, to completely resolve the natural disaster threat. To this end, he summoned the major ninja clans of the Land of Wind, launching a fierce battle to seal Shukaku today. Unexpectedly, just as the battle began, a mysterious masked figure suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Roar! Shukaku's furious roar echoed from the vast sea of sand. Half its body had been destroyed by 9 truth-seeking balls, and the intense pain drove it into a berserk state. Its tail whipped around, creating towering waves of sand, forcing the sand ninjas, already far away, to retreat even further. "Damn it, I'll kill you!" Shukaku, while gathering sand to repair its body, stared intently at Jojuan in the air, and once again unleashed a raging storm. This time, Jojuan had no truth-seeking balls for defense. He manipulated repulsive force to create a transparent protective shield in front of him, resisting the sweeping wind. Sage Art, Chakra Hand. He gathered chakra in his other hand and fired a palm-shaped green laser beam that pierced through Shukaku's body, damaging it while simultaneously absorbing a large amount of its chakra. In the original story, Naruto was once instantly killed by Tonari using this technique. Feeling its chakra being frantically devoured, Shukaku was both shocked and furious. It immediately used Sand Release, injecting chakra into the yellow sand beneath its feet, instantly turning the sea of sand into a pot of boiling water, bubbling and frothing. "Die!" Shukaku roared, and in the next moment, thousands upon thousands of sand pillars shot into the sky, first severing the chakra hand, then violently stabbing towards Jojuan. Jojuan remained exceptionally calm, condensing chakra and releasing countless tiny truth-seeking balls from his right palm, sweeping towards Shukaku like a laser rain. Boom boom boom, the laser rain collided with the sand pillars, unleashing extremely terrifying power. In an instant, the entire desert was almost blasted apart, and the air was filled with violent chakra fluctuations. How can he be so strong? He can actually suppress Shukaku all by himself. What country's ninja is he? The sand ninja were utterly shocked by the earth-shattering battle before them. Several kilometers away, the daimyo's face showed worry again. "Ritsudo, I have a feeling that the masked man might actually kill Shukaku. Should we stop him?" Ritsudo shook his head. "Don't worry, daimyo. He's only suppressing Shukaku. He's far from killing it. Unless the Sage of Six Paths is reincarnated, no one can kill Shukaku alone." At that moment, an extremely terrifying energy suddenly spread from afar, and Ritsudo's expression changed drastically. Chapter 98 Silver Wheel Reincarnation Explosion. "That aura is the tailed beast ball." The sand ninja watching from afar paled in shock. They had fought Shukaku for hundreds of years and knew its methods intimately. The tailed beast ball was undoubtedly Shukaku's most powerful attack, capable of easily destroying several mountains or towns. It was no exaggeration to say that no ninjutsu in the current ninja world could directly counter the tailed beast ball. Being hit by it meant certain death, annihilation. That masked man has something to be proud of, forcing Shukaku to use the tailed beast ball, Ritsudo said slowly. He suddenly realized he had been too naive. He had once considered himself the strongest in the Land of Wind, and even ranked among the top in the entire ninja world. However, the masked man's current strength far surpassed his own. The masked man didn't dodge. He's still hovering in the air, motionless, the daimyo exclaimed, clearly seeing Jojuan's actions through his binoculars. "What? He didn't dodge?" Ritsudo was also taken aback, raising his binoculars as well. From his perspective, Shukaku's head was held high, a large amount of black energy condensing and converging in its mouth, clearly preparing a tailed beast ball. The masked man hovered above its head, looking down indifferently, showing no intention of dodging. Does he intend to directly block the tail beast ball? Li Dao had an incredulous thought, feeling that the other party must be crazy. He guessed right. Zhou Xuan did indeed want to confront the tail beast ball head-on. He wasn't overconfident, he genuinely believed he could block the tail beast ball. In Tonari's hands, the Tenseigan could even split the moon. Although he only had one Tenseigan and was inferior to Tonari, he had the added advantage of Sage Mode. Surely he couldn't be unable to split a tail beast ball. Zhou Xuan exhaled deeply, gathering a large amount of chakra in his palms, creating dozens of truth-seeking balls. Then he rotated the truth-seeking balls with both hands. As they rotated, a layer of green chakra covered their surfaces, intertwining to form a halo. What is he doing? The masked man is going to take the tail beast ball head-on. At this moment, the Sand Ninja all saw Zhou Xuan's intention. He was clearly preparing a powerful attack, and exclamations rose and fell. How dare he? The tail beast ball can destroy the world. No one can stop it. The masked man is going to die. Li Dao calmed his agitated emotions and announced in a definitive tone. From the moment he decided to face the tail beast ball head-on, he was destined to die. Hearing with certainty, the daimyo's tense nerves immediately relaxed. It's good that he's dead, he said with a hint of anticipation. The appearance of such a powerful figure in a foreign land was not a good thing for him. He has already drawn enough firepower for us. He has died a worthy death. Shukaku won't be able to unleash a second tailed beast ball in a short time, greatly increasing our chances of sealing it. In the distance, under the watchful eyes of hundreds of Sand Ninja, Shukaku quickly completed its charging phase, spewing out a massive, jet-black sphere, carrying the power to destroy the world, and crashing towards Zhou Xuan. A glint of light flashed in Zhou Xuan's eyes as he roared, "Sage Art, Silver Wheel Reincarnation Explosion, so what if it's a tail beast? Kneel before me." The next second, a massive tornado erupted from the halo formed by dozens of truth-seeking balls in his hands, colliding head-on with the tail beast ball. Boom! A deafening roar, as if the heavens and earth had split open, erupted as terrifying chakra power surged forth, shredding the clouds high in the sky. The desert below trembled violently, whipping up countless sandstorms. How is this possible? A Sand Ninja shouted with all his might, seeing the tornado unleashed by the masked man successfully block the tailed beast ball in midair. Shukaku's tailed beast ball was blocked. What kind of ninjutsu is he using? Is he even human? Could he be a tailed beast in disguise, to be on par with a tailed beast with a mortal body? I feel he's even more terrifying than a tailed beast. The Sand Ninja were all shocked and horrified, experiencing a sense of absurdity as their worldviews were being overturned. Suddenly, a Sand Ninja of clan rank with sharp eyes noticed cracks appearing on the surface of the tailed beast ball. Oh no, the tailed beast ball is about to shatter. Before he could finish speaking, the tornado unleashed by Zhou Xuan had already forcefully crushed the tailed beast ball, blasting it down towards Shukaku. Under the terrifying crushing force of the silver wheel reincarnation explosion, Shukaku's massive body was as fragile as paper, utterly powerless, and was shredded into countless sand chunks, dying on the spot. The silver wheel reincarnation explosion continued its momentum, carving a bottomless crater into the ground. No! Shukaku! The daimyo screamed hoarsely, but it was too late. In the vast desert, Shukaku had been blasted to its death without a trace. Shukaku is dead! Shukaku is dead! The Sand Ninja were as if living in a dream, unable to recover for a long time. Weren't you certain he couldn't kill Shukaku? Why is Shukaku dead? The daimyo transferred his anger to Ritsudo, roaring and questioning him. Li Dao's face alternated between pale and purple, constantly shifting between colors. He was utterly bewildered by the result. If he hadn't witnessed it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he were beaten to death, that someone could actually kill Shukaku single-handedly. Could the opponent truly be the reincarnation of the Sage of Six Paths? Meanwhile, high in the sky, Zhou Xuan's face revealed joy. I defeated Shukaku, undoubtedly. After obtaining the Tenseigan, his combat power had undergone a qualitative leap. He could even confront a tailed beast head-on, and he was even qualified to intervene in battles of the level of the Valley of the End. He then glanced down at the Sand Ninja below and found them all with stunned expressions. Are they so shocked by me that they're questioning their existence? Zhou Xuan inexplicably wanted to laugh. He felt that he was now a great benefactor of the Land of Wind. Without his help, the Land of Wind would have had to sacrifice countless ninja lives to fight Shukaku to the death. No need for thanks, just give me Shukaku, he thought to himself. With the help of his Tenseigan, He clearly saw a cluster of chakra at the bottom of the pit, left behind by Shukaku after his death. If given more time, that chakra cluster would resurrect Shukaku. Jojuan decided to seal the chakra cluster into his body. He hadn't dared to become Black Zetsu's Jinchuriki that day, but becoming the one-tailed Jinchuriki was no problem. This would also help improve his strength. Just as he was about to fly towards the pit, a sharp pain suddenly shot through his right eye, and a tear of blood welled up. "Oh no, my eye power is overused." Jojuan's expression changed drastically. His sage cloak gradually faded and dissipated, and chakra mode and sage mode automatically deactivated. A feeling of weakness washed over him, and Jojuan swayed violently, almost falling headlong from the air. "With my current physique, I can't use the Tenseigan for long." He covered his bleeding right eye, vaguely understanding what was happening. P.S. Something came up today, so there might only be one update. Chapter 99. Time flies like a shuttle, clouds change like dogs. The Tenseigan is indeed powerful, but not everyone's body can withstand its power. Take Nagato from the original story, for example. He was completely drained by the Rinnegan. It seems the Tenseigan's power can't be abused, otherwise I'll end up like Nagato, emaciated and weak from kidney deficiency, Jojuan thought to himself. He had originally thought that with his Uzumaki clan's robust physique, he could control a single Tenseigan, but now he realized it was a stretch. He glanced at the Shukaku chakra aggregate in the crater, gritted his teeth, and turned to fly away. His body was extremely weak. He had to leave as soon as possible. He didn't have the extra energy to collect and seal Shukaku's chakra. Although he had done a great favor by helping the Land of Wind kill Shukaku, human hearts are unpredictable, and he wouldn't entrust his safety to someone else's gratitude. The masked man is gone. The sand ninja were bewildered. So what did he want? They couldn't understand the masked man's actions at all. First, he suddenly appeared out of nowhere, engaged in a fierce battle with Shukaku, killed Shukaku, and then immediately turned and left. What was he trying to achieve by doing this? The daimyo stared intently at the masked man's retreating figure through his binoculars, trembling with rage. As the leader of a nation, he was far more shrewd than ordinary ninjas, and he vaguely discerned some clues. He felt that the masked man was most likely sent by a daimyo from another country to stop them from sealing Shukaku, with the aim of keeping Shukaku alive to restrict the development of the Land of Wind in the long term. Otherwise, what a coincidence that a masked man would suddenly appear on the very day they were about to begin the sealing war. What a sinister conspiracy. The daimyo was filled with grief and indignation. He had hoped to end the natural disasters in his generation, but now Shukaku was dead, and who knew how many years it would be before he was resurrected. Catch him. At least I need to know which country is targeting us, he ordered Ritsudo beside him. Ritsudo obeyed the order and disappeared into the yellow sands to track the figure in the air. Shortly after Ritsudo left, a guard came running up from behind with a joyful expression, loudly reporting, "Lord Daimyo, good news. Your wife has given birth." The daimyo paused slightly, his grief and indignation easing considerably. He asked, "Is it a boy or a girl?" "It's a princess," the guard replied. "A princess?" A tenderness appeared in the daimyo's eyes. At this moment, he wasn't the daimyo of the Land of Wind, but the father of a girl. Since she's a princess, let's name her Chiyo. Time flies, and things change. In the blink of an eye, 4 years had passed. In the dark and damp Shikatsu forest, the slug sage's surprised voice echoed, "Uzumaki Shōsō, you're so fast." The air whistled as the wind cut through it. The slug sage could only sense a chakra fluctuation moving back and forth, but his eyes couldn't keep up with the speed. "Senior, what you're saying might be misinterpreted," Shōsō said with a wry smile, stopping in front of the slug sage. He was now radiating green energy, resembling a miniature Hulk, with dark, jet-black eyeshadow around his eyes, a characteristic of opening the 6th gate of the 8 gates and entering sage mode. What ambiguity, the slug sage blinked, like a curious child. "Nothing," Jojuan replied, not wanting to elaborate. "Anyway, thank you for sheltering me for the past 4 years, slug sage. I finally mastered the 8 gates. I didn't help you much, it's all your own hard work. Also, while the 8 gates taijutsu you developed is powerful, I feel it causes significant damage to your body. Even with your abundant life force, you can't use it frequently," the slug sage reminded him. Yes, don't worry, senior, I understand," Jojuan smiled. He certainly understood. Opening the 8 gates would cause continuous damage to various parts of his body, But entering Sage mode granted him powerful self-healing abilities, perfectly negating damage from gates below the 8th. If he ever opened the 8th gate, he would have to consume a Sharingan. I've never asked, but why are you so determined to specialize in physical techniques? You've spent more time practicing physical techniques than immortal arts in the past 4 years, the slug immortal asked curiously. Jojuan answered honestly, practicing physical techniques can strengthen my body, and I want to become stronger. I see. The slug immortal seemed thoughtful, thinking that strengthening the body was good. This way, Jojuan could live longer than ordinary humans. She was originally a very quiet immortal, but in the past 4 years, Jojuan would occasionally use reverse spiritual communication to go to the wet-bone forest to practice physical techniques. The slug immortal not only didn't feel disturbed, but actually welcomed Jojuan's visits. This was because Jojuan would always bring her many delicacies from the human world, and occasionally gifts. In addition, he spoke very sweetly, making their time together both surprising and romantic. It's about time now, senior, I have to go back. Jojuan said goodbye. Is your father forcing you to go on another blind date today? The slug immortal hesitated for a moment before asking. Jojuan said with a troubled expression, yes, he's been arranging more and more blind dates for me lately. It's really making me anxious. At your age, it's indeed time to settle down. I wish you a successful blind date today, the slug sage blissed. Meanwhile, at the clan chief's mansion in Whirlpool Village, Jojuan's shadow clone was leisurely sunbathing in a rocking chair when he suddenly received a message from his main body. The shadow clone then took out a blood bag from his pocket, smeared some on his thumb, and slammed it heavily onto the ground. Ninja art, summoning true self technique, PFFT, a cloud of white mist exploded, and Jojuan's main body was instantly summoned from the wet-bone forest to the clan chief's mansion. That's all for you, step back, Jojuan said with a faint smile. The shadow clone immediately disappeared on the spot. The summoning true self technique is quite useful, Jojuan muttered to himself. This was a new ninja technique he had developed in the past 4 years, besides the 8 gates. The principle was not complicated, it simply involved the shadow clone forming a summoning contract with the main body, and then having the main body's blood prepared in advance on the shadow clone. Compared to the summoning technique, the 8 gates released formation is considerably more difficult. However, it's not a complete beginner's game. Familiar with the original story, he already knows the exact locations of the 8 gates in the human body. Therefore, he only needs to forcefully open the 8 gates using chakra in Sage mode, essentially learning from someone else's work and significantly reducing development time. Over the past 4 years, Jojuan has primarily focused on physical training. Even the most powerful taijutsu requires a strong physique, and the 8 gates released formation is no exception. The Tenseigan is even more so. 4 years ago, after his fierce battle with Shukaku, Jojuan felt severely depleted, as if his kidneys had been completely drained. He returned to Uzumaki village and lay in bed for 3 days, falling seriously ill. After recovering, Jojuan realized that his only weakness was his physique. He had to overcome this weakness, otherwise, every use of the Tenseigan would cause kidney deficiency. Who could endure that? Chapter 100 The Development of the Times. Jojuan was a shrewd fellow, always keeping a backup plan. When Uzumaki village was established, the daimyo had donated 1 billion taels of silver to the Uzumaki clan. He secretly kept a portion of the money for a rainy day, never expecting it would end up being used to tonify his kidneys. He disguised himself as a foreign merchant and purchased large quantities of aphrodisiacs and tonics like deer antler and deer blood from the Nara clan. He combined dietary supplements and medicinal baths with physical training, enduring scorching heat and freezing cold for 4 years, successfully sculpting a robust physique. Now, whenever he takes off his clothes, he reveals an explosive physique, each muscle containing unimaginable power. This physique not only allows him to open the 8 gates, but also better withstands the power of the Tenseigan. If you were to fight Shukaku again now using the Tenseigan, kidney deficiency would likely still be unavoidable, but he certainly wouldn't be bedridden for 3 days like he was 4 years ago. Going out for a blind date, Jojuan chuckled self-deprecatingly, tidying his clothes to conceal his muscular physique before leaving home. His position was still the squad leader of the guard team, responsible for the security of Whirlpool Village. Today happened to be his day off. However, even on his day off, he couldn't be at peace. Whirlpool Dragon forcibly arranged a blind date for him, threatening that he had to go. Zhou was extremely cautious about the blind date, not daring to let his shadow clone do it for him, fearing that the shadow clone might misbehave and make things worse, so he had to go himself. The average lifespan in the Warring States period was 30 years. I'm 20 and still not married. It seems like I've really committed a heinous crime. Grand opening sale at the barbecue restaurant. Everything 40% off. Candied hawthorns. Selling candied hawthorns, new clothing imported from the land of snow. Don't miss it. Walking along the street, the vendors' cries were endless, and pedestrians were bustling about, chatting and laughing as they passed by. For a moment, Zhou was in a daze, looking at the prosperous and lively scene before him, as if he had traveled back to town in the 1970s or 80s of his previous life. 4 years may not seem like a complete transformation, but the changes to Uzumaki village have been earth-shattering. Uzumaki village has undoubtedly become the safest place in the land of fire, even safer than the capital. No matter how fierce the wars rage outside, they will never reach Uzumaki village. As a result, a large number of civilians have moved to Uzumaki village, and even many foreigners have joined in. After 5 expansions, Uzumaki village now has a population of over 400,000, directly accounting for half of the total population of the Land of Fire. Uzumaki Ryu is indeed good material to become a daimyo. He foresaw the future prosperity of Uzumaki village 4 years ago, so he selected promising individuals from among the civilians to form a ninja legion, strengthening its armed forces. He assigned each villager a unique ID number, kept them in a centralized archive, and built a marriage notary office in the village. Only couples who obtain a marriage certificate at the notary office are legally married. He also implemented a series of tax policies, making it resemble a state within a state. Uzumaki Ryu is clever. To prevent being feared and annihilated by various ninja clans, he used money to win over and divide the clans, cultivating good relations with each one as much as possible. He promised that Uzumaki village would not participate in any wars or nex any ninja clans unless they voluntarily surrendered. With this maneuver, Uzumaki village was immediately removed from the battlefield of the Land of Fire, becoming a neutral third-party force, even breaking its alliance with the Senju clan. This move by Uzumaki village was welcomed by all the ninja clans except the Senju clan, who believed that as long as they didn't threaten their own clans, Uzumaki village could do whatever it wanted. Under these circumstances, as long as Uzumaki village didn't do anything that would incur public wrath, the other ninja clans couldn't unite to annihilate it. Father's probably going to establish a nation, Zhou silently pondered. He clearly understood Uzumaki Ryu's ambition. His father was no longer satisfied with competing with the various ninja clans, but had reached a higher level, wanting to contend with the nations of the ninja world. With its current strength, Uzumaki village certainly has the potential to establish a nation. The battle 4 years ago, where the Hyuga clan was besieged, caused significant upheaval in the Land of Fire. The Kaguya clan was utterly defeated, forced to flee overseas, and disappeared from the Land of Fire, leaving only 6 of the 7 great shinobi clans. After defeating Kaguya, the Hyuga clan sought revenge against the Kurama clan, forming an alliance with the Sarutobi clan. The Kurama clan was thoroughly thrashed, ultimately paying substantial war reparations and retreating to their clan territories, leaving only 5 of the 6 great shinobi clans. The Uchiha clan, having weathered the initial storm of their covetousness for the Byakugan, and seeing that Black Zetsu had not reappeared for several years and the Hyuga clan's Byakugan had not been stolen again, relaxed, assuming Black Zetsu was either dead or had disappeared. Thus, they began to stir again, recuperating for several years before emerging once more to fight their archenemy, the Senju clan. It's worth mentioning that both Uchiha Tajima and Senju Batsuma abdicated, with Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama becoming the new clan leaders. With Hyuga Tenin and Sarutobi Sasuke subsequently assuming the leadership, the 4 major ninja clans have completed their generational transition. Unlike the original story, Uchiha Tajima and Senju Batsuma didn't fight to the death. Zhou wasn't sure if this was due to the changes he caused or if their time for mutual destruction hadn't come yet. He coveted Uchiha Tajima's main Gekkai Sharingan, planning to steal it on the day Tajima died. As for Senju Batsuma, Zhou had a very good impression of his sister's father-in-law. For 4 years, he always received a warm welcome from Batsuma whenever he visited the Senju clan's territory, showing no resentment towards Zhou for coming to freeload after the Uzumaki alliance dissolved. Therefore, he sincerely hoped that Batsuma would die a natural death rather than on the battlefield alongside Uchiha Tajima. The current situation in the Land of Fire is a three-way power struggle between the Senju, Uchiha, Hyuga, and Sarutobi clans, while dozens of smaller clans, such as the Ino Shikacho, Aburame, Hatake, Gekko, Inuzuka, and Namikaze, are engaged in fierce battles. The Uzumaki clan, as a neutral force, remains aloof, maintaining friendly relations with all the clans without taking sides. My brother-in-law, having mastered Sage Mode, has truly matured. Even the three Susanoo of the Uchiha clan combined are no match for him. I estimate that in the next few years, he will sweep through the land with overwhelming power, subjugating every clan and realizing his dream of establishing the Hidden Leaf Village, a village where all the clans unite. Lost in thought, Jojuan arrived at his blind date location shortly after. Looking up at the coffee shop sign, he couldn't help but sigh. Even coffee shops exist now, times are changing so fast. He stepped across the threshold. As an imported beverage, coffee was undoubtedly a novelty, popular among young people. Even at lunchtime, the shop was still quite crowded. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.